It is the 2015 year in comedy. Welcome, everybody. You can go over and vote on any of these subjects. It's up on the iBang today. You can vote for the best hours special, best viral video of the year, best stand-up comedian of the year. Vote for the best book written by a comedian. Check out the Clubs Speak. That's where the clubs will tell you what were their greatest moments of the year. But we're finally getting to the part of the show that's my expertise, and that's animated series. Once again, I'm voting for the Flintstones, but Wacky Racers has got me thinking maybe I'm into this. Chris, you're my animated series guy.
That's me.
Read off the 10 finalists.
These are the 10 finalists for Best Animated Series of 2015. First off, Rick and Morty on Adult Swim. Wait, hold on. Wait. Secondly, you gotta stop clapping. They got BoJack Horseman on Netflix.
Hi, Chris. I always tell the audience to please hold their applause.
Yeah,
I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
Okay, I just screamed stop clapping.
Yeah, stop clapping.
All right, everyone, please hold your applause.
It's too late now.
Please, everyone.
Now it's wide. It's Wild Wild West. What's the BoJack Horseman? I don't even know what that is.
That's with Mr. Will Arnett, and it is hot fire right now.
So it's not even a cartoon. It's just actually Will Arnett.
No, Will Arnett's doing the voice.
Oh, okay. You're doing a really bad job of explaining this.
Also, Paul F. Tompkins does a voice
favorite
on BoJack Horseman.
Next, Bob's Burgers on Fox.
Now, I do know Bob's Burgers, and I enjoy it.
Next, Archer on FX.
Bob's Burgers ripoff.
South Park on Comedy Central. Perennial show to be on.
Still on?
Oh, yeah, it's still on. 9 for 19 seasons, yes.
I thought those guys retired.
No, they still love making those cartoons. Next, Moonbeam City, brand new this year on Comedy Central.
I have seen this one, and it's kind of a Miami Vice with one of my favorite comedic actors, Mr. Rob Loamey.
Mike Tyson's Mysteries on Adult Swim.
Sounds made up.
Rape charges.
Adventure Time.
Chris, you got to be straight man.
Yeah, you're straight
man. This is why I don't let you set the table. You have been god awful about this.
Okay.
You know what? Let's throw it over and let Joe do it. Go ahead, Joe. Do the rest of it.
Next we have on Comedy Central, Adventure Time.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And after that, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, the famed Adult Swim show.
I didn't know that was still on either. I thought that retired itself.
Back again.
It retired this year, Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
And then
Didn't it take a break?
A sabbatical?
Yeah.
It did. It took a sabbatical and then came back.
Yeah.
So
and
even when you're
ended.
not setting the table, you still misplace the forks, Chris.
And finally, we have The Awesomes,
that does
Seth
sound
Meyers
good.
show about a superhero team that's on Hulu.
If I was Seth Meyers, I'd probably spend a lot of time going like this. No, I'm not related to Mike. Oh. All right, let me go to my littlest and youngest one of us all. And Vito will probably be right about this because he's a founder. Vito, what's the best animated series?
My pick is Rick and Morty on Adult Swim.
Really?
I watched 6 episodes of it in a row just because I couldn't stop watching it. It's the first show I've laughed out loud that much in a long time.
Say that about most things that you watch.
You know what? I forget that I laugh out loud at stuff, and then I see another thing, and then I start laughing out loud at that. And
You're
I'm
a good
like,
audience, though, to be fair.
All right, what about you, Gail? You're an animated person.
I am. A lot of times people think I'm pretty animated, but it's just the voices and such. I'm going to have to say, for me, it's a old-time favorite, Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Really?
I have always loved that show.
I never understood it.
Well, what's not to understand about giant mutant fast food items?
Thank you.
Oh, that part. That's the part you don't get?
Joe, you look like a child more than everyone else. Who do you choose?
I have to go with Seth Meyers' show, The Awesomes, on Hulu.
Really?
Yeah. It's about a superhero team. It's very funny. They find themselves in wacky situations, and they grow together. And, it can sustain itself. Seth Meyers is an amazing writer. I'm going with The Awesomes.
Okay. Chris, time for you to pick South Park again?
No, look, I've been thinking long and hard on this category.
Have you?
Oh, yeah. Because, look, Rick and Morty's the hot shit this year. Everyone's talking about Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty's the best thing ever.
Oh, Vito
That's why the
is.
founder.
That's the only person I know or heard talking about
It's
it.
hip. It's cool. It's in.
It's the young buck on the block. All right, I get that. Aqua Teen
show.
Hunger Force, fun show. I enjoyed it. Now the latter season's not so much. South Park, I voted for them last year.
Every year.
And
19
every year
years.
before that.
19 years ago.
This year, I go with Moonbeam City, which follows South Park every goddamn week.
It's better than South Park?
I think it's
100 times better.
I think it rips off Archer, and it does a better job than Archer.
Interesting.
All right, I've paid a lot of attention to this. And what show is Paul F. Tompkins on again?
BoJack Horseman.
I picked that day.
Big win for BoJack Horseman.
All right.
Right.
That is Best Animated Show. You can go and vote up on the interrobang.com, and the address for that is ibang.com. Let's get into the late night host of the year. And Gail, why don't you read these off to us?
The Bennington Show and the interrobang.com present the best late night hosts of 2015.
Well, it's been a big year
It has been.
for late night.
A lot of changes.
A lot of big changes. So let's not delay. Let's hop right in.
Yeah.
And let me start it off by saying, please hold your applause till the
Oh,
end.
I wish Chris would have done that.
Now I know not to.
Yeah, thanks
All
for
right,
the...
so best late night host of 2015. Conan.
Is that O'Brien?
Conan O'Brien.
Okay, good.
The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Just watch the old Late Show and Letterman.
Late Show with Corden. The Nightly Show. Why was I waiting for the applause that I told you not to do?
I don't know what's going on
This is
here.
weirdly silent.
Yeah.
I don't know what would possess them to be so quiet.
I don't know what the exact opposite of timing is, but you're going for that.
I'm just leaving it so we can add it in post.
Sure.
Nightly Show with Larry Wilmore. Daily Show with Trevor Noah. Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Kimmel Live. Late Night with Seth Meyers. John Oliver and Bill Maher.
All right. What do you got, Chris?
I have the old dog on the block, Mr. Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, he's the veteran now. He's the veteran on this block.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
Because
Jimmy
it really
Kimmel.
felt like he was new guy, and that quickly he turned into...
Here's what Jimmy Kimmel has going for him. He's the only 11 o'clock LA show, which seems weird to say. So he does the thing of, we'll release a movie on my show. You put 8 people out there, and they're all talking, and there's an excitement level when you get all the Avengers together. Now, having said that, not exactly good TV to have 8 people sitting in chairs waiting for their time. But from a promo point of view, it's good. But yeah, Jimmy Kimmel is the guy who's been around the most. Let's go to Joe next.
I have to go with just consistency of what I watched this year, and that's Mr. John Oliver. I don't miss an episode. I watch every week. Very good writing staff. Always taking on social issues that other people aren't really talking about necessarily. And he's
Some
very
because
funny.
we all agree on. Let's
Yeah,
face it.
that's
Some of
true.
those things it's not really so hard to attack.
Well,
All right, here's where I'm going to take points off.
okay.
Once a week.
Yeah.
I mean, I put him with the Bill Maher. Hey, dude, you had all week to think about this. You know, the other guy's got to go out and do it every night. All right, Gail, who about for you?
I'm going to say that this person had tough shoes to fill, but I'm going to go with Trevor Noah, The Daily
Trevor
Show
Noah.
with Trevor Noah. I
Yeah.
was very impressed. I mean, it was a huge job to fill those shoes, and I think he's doing a great job. I feel like he's making it his own. There's a certain pacing it out. You know, it's not like immediately he came out the gate where you're like, oh, this is going to be the new thing. I think he's getting there. He's done a phenomenal job. I'm going Trevor Noah.
It's too bad for Trevor that you don't write for a for a big paper because he's taking a lot of heat now.
I know.
The heat against him is incredible.
And I don't think that is fair, but I think it has to do with that show was so beloved.
Jon Stewart was, just a beloved figure by the left, obviously. Yes. All right, let's go over to Vito. Vito, remember, no animated in this. You're going to have to pick a human being.
God damn it, Vito.
I can't pick Space Ghost.
No.
Eddie was still on.
Okay, yeah, can we count this, guys?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with my favorite host, Conan O'Brien, on TBS.
What is it about Conan that you're loving?
Well, this year he just did a lot more stuff that he used to do. Like, I really loved his specials he did, where he went to other countries.
Yeah, that seems to be his big thing. Well, I'm going to go to Czechoslovakia or whatever.
Yeah.
He's always been big on his, like, man on the street kind of stuff. Not man on the street, but going to weird places. Like, back when he did the old-timey baseball bit.
Mm-hmm.
And just the different times he'd go out with Triumph and do stuff like that.
Right.
But seeing him do more stuff like he used to do made me really happy this year. So, got to go with Conan.
Now, none of you guys have picked the number one show consistently since it's moved into there. This show that goes viral faster than everyone's, plays songs with toys, can play football with a pizza or a cheesecake, and that is Mr. Jimmy Fallon, who makes it all look so easy. And that's why I have picked the only person who interests me right now in late night, Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah,
wow.
I think, is the guy that could grow into that position. It hasn't happened for him yet, but people forget this. It didn't happen for Jon Stewart early on. Trevor Noah needs his big cause. Maybe it'll be this election. Maybe it'll be an uprising somewhere place. We don't know yet. But he is too smooth to be like the other hosts. He's just a smooth guy. He seems like he should be playing saxophone.
I agree. I think, there's a certain stamina. Like, I think he's going to be in for the long haul.
Me too.
And it's just he's gonna take a while to get his stride. But I think he has tons of confidence and he's a super funny guy.
He's a very funny guy, but more than that, he's charming. He has a fucking, a coolness about him, a winning smile. He's the type of guy that will help you put your tray away if it gets stuck a little bit. If you're on an airplane, he'll reach over and fix it for you.
He's handy.
I wish him all the best, too.
And I don't mind mentioning he's easy on the eyes.
Is he?
He is.
Now, no one brought up Stephen Colbert. And he's been told recently by Slate Magazine that network TV has defanged him, and that's good. I think this is the thing that Colbert needs to do, is get out of the political guest. If you're not going to go after him the way you used to,
right,
have a show business guy on it. People have been saying Trevor Noah, the interviews he's in over his head. Why have those kind of interviews? Just use New York and LA comics until you're more comfortable.
Yep.
Those guys will come in and support you, and they'll be funny. Stop trying to do what the other guys did. I wish that every show out there would hire me as a consultant because I could help them all so much.
The amount of tech people they shoehorn.
I got a great idea for John Oliver.
What's that?
Work 4 more days a week.
Perfect.
You're
going to get a lot of heat then,
And imagine how much more money you're going to be making.
At least 4 times as much.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what I'd negotiate for.
Yeah. I'd go for, look, I put in a lot more time than I did last year. But what do you got for us next, Chris?
That's the best late night TV moments. Just the moments on late night television.
The Bennington Show and the Interrobang.com present the best late night TV moments of 2015.
Let's not even pick off the charts yet. Let's just go by your own. Was there a late night TV moment that stuck out for you?
I think it would probably be Letterman's
farewell show.
Yeah, farewell show.
That I thought was great because the moment of the show that worked for me is when Letterman said that his son was there and his son wanted to mention that his buddy was with him. And the kid just leaned over.
So cute.
And it was so adorable. And it made you say, like, oh man, Letterman has done a great job of raising his kid away from the fame of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that kid of Letterman just came off as a kid who was at a show.
Yeah.
Not at his dad's show.
Just, would you mind mentioning my buddy?
Joe, what jumped out for you this year?
I would have to say Jon Stewart leaving The Daily Show. And how, after 17 years, how...
What was the moment of the show for you?
The ending, Trevor Noah coming out and pretending to measure the desk, and kind of the changing of the guards at that moment.
For me, it was the beginning of that show when all this great talent who had started with him kept coming back. I actually got a little choked up because I'm like, there's your legacy, John. Not, the jokes, but the careers that you got, started.
Yeah, that's an incredible thing to step away from and say, not only did I have a great run, but all these people who I, were connected to have all gone on to have these great careers.
I think only Lorne Michaels is the only person that competes, and that's because he's done it longer.
Yeah.
But the amount of people who started as correspondents on that show, and every time I left, I would go like this: "You fucking idiot! You've got the best job of TV, and we'll never see you again." And then they go on to have major success every time. And I was doing it right up into the end. Right up into the end, I was saying, "Don't leave that show." It was crazy. What about for you, Vito?
It's going to be Conan going to Cuba. I'm doubling down on Conan.
Tripling right now on things that you're voting for with Conan.
I'm doubling down on Conan because, like I said before too about it, when you were talking about like how you wish the host would like play to their strengths.
Yeah.
I wish Conan's show had no interviews. I just wish it was more of the zany shit he gets into.
No reason for it to have interviews at this point with so many shows.
And this was a good return to form. And also, like, it was just, I don't know, I learned a lot.
It's very funny that you said that because Jay Leno was just talking about how he loved doing his monologue and hated the rest of it. You're like, well,
then change the show. Do the show the way you want to do it. If that's not where you excel, and that's going to be 90% of your show.
But why does everyone stick with the old thing? What if you just had somebody come out and do the zany parts, and then now here's Dick Cavett who will be talking to, and let somebody who likes to interview, or maybe two people and leave that host to just go back to doing the silly parts. It'll be just something different.
Make the host like a master of ceremonies type. He's throwing it to people. I agree. That would be a very good thing.
I think that's why Fallon plays games, because they know he can't hold an interview for that long.
Yeah, but I don't want to watch a game.
No, I mean, I don't want to watch him play fucking beer pong with Betty White either.
Yeah, it just doesn't fucking... I normally feel for the people that have to play games when they're there to promote a movie.
They're the worst.
Like
games suck.
Remember the day that we had Ileana Douglas in? It was some time ago. It was a couple weeks ago.
God, yeah.
Sure.
And I enjoyed talking to her about her book. But if someone said, okay, Ileana Douglas is going to come in and you guys have got to bowl but with grapefruits, I'd be freaked out. I wouldn't be able to sleep the night before. Like, is she going to hate us for this?
That's what turned me on Colbert the first time he played a game. Steph Curry was on, and he was like, it was like a game like, imagine if you were in college and you had laundry to do, and they were shooting like three throws with their laundry in the laundry bags, and I was like, all right, I guess he's...
But I love Steph Curry.
I love Steph Curry too, but obviously I would turn on Colbert.
I mean, I really love Steph Curry.
Oh, like...
Yeah,
dude,
that kind of love.
All right.
Oh, all right.
More lip sync battles, less interviews.
I can't watch those lip sync battles. I can't watch air guitar night. I can't watch it. It really makes me feel bad.
It is funny though when Jimmy Fallon is in the interview chair, because he's a big fan of everybody.
He loves everybody.
He loves everybody. He does not have a negative opinion about one thing.
I remember one night I saw him say to Jason Schwartzman that you are the greatest actor of all time, and Jason Schwartzman just went, wow, thanks. All time. Brando has lived. All the time.
Interesting.
Everybody's his favorite, like me.
Chris, what did we miss?
All right, you got Jon Stewart welcomes back all the correspondents.
Great.
There was the Letterman moment that was picked was Bob Dylan's performance on Letterman.
That was kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was Conan Goes to Cuba made it.
Whoa!
Seth Meyers recreating the original Letterman opening from 1982.
I remember when he did that night. That was pretty cute.
That was cute.
Jim Gaffigan and his entire family guest hosting the Late Late Show.
That was fun too.
Jimmy Kimmel getting a tour of the Bronx Zoo from Tracy Morgan.
That I don't remember, but it sounds, like uncomfortable.
James Corden, his first episode, the first bit he did with the Hanksology, when he brought Tom Hanks on, they went through all his films.
I love that, but why keep it going? And I love the first time that he was singing with somebody in the car, but now it's once a week.
Right.
But I like James Corden, and I like that he brings out 3 guests at the same time in a very English way.
I think that because then it becomes a chat show.
I might even switch over to James Corden being my vote. I'm going to vote twice.
All right.
Then we go back. No one can stop me from going to the iBank twice.
No, yeah. And then
all this is up on the interrobang.com. Oh, you have one more?
One more. Big J and Dan Soder on At Midnight.
Oh
God. I felt for them all. I felt for Big J more than Soder, who just loved it.
Soder did seem like he was enjoying himself.
Yeah.
But Jay's face, like they would cut to him and he would have a scowl.
Yeah, he wasn't happy. Animated series, best late night TV moments, best late night host, all up on the iBank. You can also vote on our special favorite viral video of the year, stand-up comic of the year, best book written by a comedian. Check out the Club Speaks. That's all part of it. We're going to break here, Chris.
Oh, yeah, we're going to break, yeah.
What's next on our list?
The best television series of 2015.
Ooh.
Comedy or drama?
Comedy. The best comedy television series of 2015.
Let me just ask this before we go in.
Yeah.
Is Fargo considered a comedy?
It is not on the comedy list.
Not even as a dark comedy.
No.
Made me laugh quite a bit. No. And that's it?
No, and then best comedy tour.
Best comedy what?
Best comedy tour of 2015.
All right.
And then we're going to talk about the comedians who played Madison Square Garden in 2015 as well.
That's exciting.
Nice.
Yeah.
All more on the year in comedy 2015 with the Bennington Show.
Back with the best of Bennington. Ron Bennington, me, Gail Bennington, Chris Stanley Bennington.
What's up?
The end of the year has approached, and now we're in best ofs for the end of the year. How did this happen? When did this happen?
Well, it happened in late December.
Late December?
It's been a long December. And there's reason to believe that this year will be better than the last. Which, by the way, you should be saying that in January, not in December.
Because you already lost that year that you're saying is better than the last.
And it's not this year. This coming year?
Yeah.
It's strange.
The smell of hospitals in winter.
Winter. Does it change the odor in there?
Seems like it does.
It's like a wintry hospital smell.
And it's California in winter. So is that really as harsh as you're letting on? Because it seems pleasant to me. Seems like a dream.
Nice. So mild.
Yeah. Of course, it's mild on the East Coast, or it has been when we're recording this. It is part of the best of, and I do not think we could do a best of without this gentleman, Chris Gethard, who is one of my favorite people. Not just entertainers. He's one of my favorite people.
Favorite living human.
Yeah.
We love having him in. He's the best.
I even think I like him better than a lot of dead humans.
Really?
Yeah. You just don't have to be living.
Yeah, dead humans, though, are good because then they can't mess up their history anymore.
Or they also can't improve it, can they?
Good point.
And I'm looking at you, Joseph Stalin. I'd still be mad at you even if you were still alive. Chris Gethard. By the way, have you guys ever read his book?
I have.
Amazing, right?
I have started reading it, yeah.
It's amazing. He is so, first of all, the honesty level is one that I would never even attempt in my life. Don't attempt that kind of honesty.
Too vulnerable.
I have a feeling that if I read a story about my life, it would start with me killing a bear at age 3. That's what a liar I am.
Did this happen to him?
Yeah. And that's where how I got the nickname in school, Crockett. And there's going to be like a lot of people reading it going, we never called him Crockett, did we?
Don't remember calling him Crockett.
You know, my nickname back then was Ron. So, pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, it's real cool. But Chris Gethard, we could not be doing a kind of a year wrap up without having him on because everybody always wants to up their game when he comes in too. Because he's so damn funny and he's uniquely funny.
He is. And, you know, I like to think of myself as friendly with Chris Gethard. You remember how it broke my heart when I said to Tom Sharpling, oh, we're friends with Chris Gethard. And then he threw out that they had gone to a basketball game
Why
together.
do you need to do that, Tom?
Why's he got one up?
Yeah. Come on, Tom. You know, I felt great about the fact that he comes in the show. I feel very chummy with Chris Gethard.
You know, but he also said we went to a Knicks game together. You know what I mean? Like not even a St. John's game.
Oh, yeah.
Or a Liberty or whatever the girls things. You know, I was just hoping, please don't make it floor seats. Please.
You know it was. I know it was. Can't compete with that.
Well, here's the deal. That's the difference between us and Sharpling. People actually like Sharpling off the air as well, where they only like to be on our show. They don't want to spend any time with us.
No, there's no hangout time.
Look, not even the people that work here do. I can say to Stanley, what are you up to this weekend? And I'd see the panic across his face. He doesn't want to spend time with me.
Gambling, probably.
You say that, but you're too stupid to gamble.
You buzzed me.
I know. Even during this thing, you said that you bad math. So bad math costs you money during a poker game.
It happens occasionally.
So let's make this less about you, as you often do, and more about Chris Gethard. When does his show start back up?
That's in February on Fusion.
I'll be watching the Fusion.
Me too.
God, he's funny. He is indeed one of our favorite. In my opinion, Gail, you should have tried to marry him, but he's already married off.
I know.
Sorry, ladies.
Sorry, ladies. He's taken. And I hear married well, too. I hear she's quite a looker.
She's adorable. I met her in Montreal. Actually, even before Montreal, because we flew up on the plane together. What I was worried was going to be the comedy death plane. There were so many comedy stars on that.
So tragic.
But you know how, like, a lot of people get upset? But I'm like, well, they got to put my name in there because I'm just, audition. Like, Trevor Noah's going to headline this thing. Margaret Cho is going to be up there. Hi, Gethard. To be honest, I mean, a couple of those guys that are on Comedy Central,
sure.
But,
But you're
know their faces.
Right.
But I'd be thrown in with the mix.
Yeah. I mean, even just to be at Big Bopper status.
Oh, I'd love to be the Big Bopper.
Yeah.
I'd love it. Because Big Bopper is remembered forever.
Yeah, forever. And he's really a one-hit wonder, right? Chantilly Lace, I think, is all he really had going. And I'm not trying to take it away. It's a great song.
Great.
Chantilly Lace.
You know what bothers me, though? After he died, fucking Jerry Lee Lewis started doing that song.
He did Chantilly Lace?
Yeah. He would do it in concert all the time, and he'd be like, hello, baby, it's the Killer calling. He would even add that. like he somehow wrote it.
Killer didn't care. He just wanted to pop.
Well, you got to be, ruthless. There's only one way to rock. We all know that. All right. So have a Merry Trumpness, everybody, and a happy Trump year. And this is Chris Gethard on the Bennington Show.
It's the best of Bennington.
Chris Gethard has his own theme song and is in here now. I didn't realize until you said that's your wife singing that.
Yeah, my wife is the lead singer of the house band on the Chris Gethard Show. That's how I got a wife out of it. That was the thing on public access. It was like, well, if this goes nowhere else, I got a wife. So
yeah,
got to keep the big things in perspective.
I met your wife up in Montreal. Mm-hmm. Adorable.
Yeah,
adorable.
Out of my league.
Yes,
right.
I didn't want to. Yeah, I didn't want to say
long
that.
enough at this point.
Okay, good. So so far out of your league that you might even be a little nervous sometimes.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. We went to a wedding, a friend of mine out in LA, and I was later told by another friend, like, it was weird because there's all these comedians that I've known for years and nobody was really talking to me. And then a friend of mine later told me that, like, they were all talking about, they'd never met my wife. They were all talking about me. So they were all worried about talking to me. And apparently it was said, it's like weird science. Like, he's the nerd who built her in a lab. So like friends saying.
Yeah. So is that a compliment to you, do you think? Or
it is. I mean, it induces a lot of anxiety.
Right.
It's like, you know, like Mike Birbiglia, one of my friends, he gave me a punchline, which is, my wife is more attractive than me to the point that it looks like I have hired her. I just said that. One day I was like being neurotic on the tour bus.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know how I can keep up with this girl. It's weird because I'm just like bragging that I have a pretty wife, but, yeah, he was like, yeah, man, it kind of looks like you hired her to hang out with you. So it's a little much, man. Much.
There's so much stuff happening to me. I'll just say this. I was on the set of a major motion picture, a blockbuster, and that is planned for next year. And they invited me to watch with the entire crew, everybody, the kind of outtakes and funny things that happen. And I saw Chris Gethard get punched in the face by a huge comedy star. And the room burst into laughter, and I'm like, but he was hit in the face.
Yeah. I wasn't sure where you were going, and then I realized that you saw did the footage look good at least?
It looked fantastic, and it was the biggest laugh when...
I don't even know if they're using it in the movie.
I don't know, because they were still filming, but the fact that the crew and cast and director had such fond feelings toward you, I have to tell you, I was thrilled about it.
I took it for real. It was a real punch. If that footage ever sees the light of day, you see it. My glasses, she punches me square in the face, like right over the nose. Glasses fly up. She catches them, and I just went down.
Now,
not good. It was not cool.
Now, this is something like, because you never know when you do, you kind of are doing this just for one day. Were you one day on the?
Yeah, I think it was 1 or 2 days.
So you never know whether that happens. And a lot of times when people have never done anything, it concerns, but you know, when you see, because I was with Paul Feig to see the enormous thing.
Oh, that lets it out of the bag a little bit.
Yeah.
That lets it out of the bag a little bit.
That he had to do. I couldn't believe, like, I had never been on a set that
one
big.
Was crazy, yeah.
And the amount, you know, the crew, it's like running an army. And, but so you never know what's going to make, I mean, I know a lot of the names that are coming through that are the biggest names in the history of comedy.
Yeah.
You know?
And then me.
And then
me trying to desperately do something funny enough to stay in the movie.
You got an enormous laugh from everybody there. But I remember thinking he got hit for real.
Did you see the footage long enough to where she yells, I punched him in the face?
Yeah. I think she even turned and looked at the camera when she said it. And by the way, she's gorgeous and she's hip
super cool
and
so
funny.
But I got back to my hotel that night and there was like a big thing of chocolates with a note that was like, I think it said, it was great working with you and even greater punching you in the face. Got punched right in the face.
I actually would have given her money to punch me in the face, but I saw her that day. She was look fantastic. But see, that stuff that you're not even, it's just another one of the projects for you. You've got so many projects going.
Well, at this point, I'm kind of used to getting cast as like an off-putting, creepy nerd, which is what that was. You saw the footage.
Yeah.
Everything I ever get cast in, it's just like, we need a nerd who's like mildly unsettling. That seems to be my bread and butter in large-scale Hollywood projects. So,
like you could be dangerous.
But that one was overwhelming. That one was, Office, I played a weirdo. Yeah. Parks and Recreation, I played a semi-dangerous weirdo. It's just like, if you need someone who has a somewhat dangerous vibe but still has glasses, I'm your man.
But did they call you for it? Did they say
for that movie?
Yeah.
Well, that one's interesting because the writer is an old friend of mine. That's pure nepotism, if you ask me. Like, I was in another movie that she wrote. I actually lived my freshman year of college. I lived on the same floor as a person who has become a writer of blockbuster comedy movies, and I cast her in her first improv group. I was the one, she was pledging a sorority, and I was like, that's dumb. Don't do that. Come do comedy. You're funny. And I think she's always felt we've always been very close and connected, and I was in love with her for many years, as a young man is apt to do, and we've had so much back and forth drama, but we're really great friends. And she hooked me up. So she always tries to give me like one stupid part in her large, not stupid.
Well, I got to meet her on that set too.
Yeah,
And I fell a little in love with her too.
Yes,
I mean, but I was looking at her, there's like scenes are being shot and then she's sitting there with things and I'm just like, what is that like to see this? Cause I was on the enormous sets that they had up in Massachusetts. So I'm like, what is that like that you have an imagination, you type it up and then you see the craftsmanship that goes in to something like this.
It must be incredibly surreal to see that many people working on something that you cared about, that you're like, oh, I hope this works out.
And the beauty of these sets was stunning.
Yeah.
Everything, there was, hotel lobby and subway, and it was all in this one enormous building. And I just was blown away within seconds.
Yeah, it was pretty overwhelming. I did not want to mess that one up.
Yeah.
But luckily, when you get punched in the face, people take it pretty easy on you the rest of the day.
Right.
So it's almost good because it's like I can't be nervous anymore because everyone has to be nice to me. There's like a stunt coordinator and everything. I'm like, I don't know what you coordinated. You coordinated me hitting the pavement on film. That's what you coordinated.
Well, they were actually even saying that the stunt coordinator would build a set out of cardboard before they would do stuff, and they would run through it because there's this enormous stunts and they're trying to do as little of it with CGI as possible, to really give it that organic feeling. Everything that I saw looked hilarious that they were shooting. Everything looked great. Everybody was on point, but I had never seen a crew like that. I never saw a crew of hundreds of people moving like fish. You know what I mean? Like no one was saying, you go here, you go. Like everybody was like a real craftsman and knew what they were doing. But I was stunned when I saw that thing of you getting punched in the face.
Not as stunned as I was, man. Not as stunned as I was. They gave, because it's so funny too, because they're so careful with all the stunt stuff. So they had it's supposed to be a fake punch and I'm supposed to go down. So they had crash pads and they gave me knee pads, elbow pads, all this stuff fitted under my clothes. It's like, none of that matters. None of that matters when it's just a couple inches off.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad, but that wasn't even the worst hit. The worst hit, at this point, we're not saying what the name of the movie is, which I don't know if I'm allowed to, and you've been very kind about that, but we've already alluded to who the director and writer are. So I can just say that someone was wearing a metal backpack, and I got hit in the head with that in one of the takes, and that was even worse. Someone swung around and I got hit with a metal backpack that may or may not involve protons. Hit in the head with, that was even worse. That was when I was like, I might be concussed. That got really bad.
And this is all just from doing a couple of days. You're getting banged up.
Yeah, I think it was one day.
Yeah, one day. And it's worse than if somebody went to Afghanistan for one day. He comes back with more injuries. That's got to be, when you know that the thing is going on for a while, and then you come in to do your stuff, that's more pressure, I think, than getting a big part in the big movie and staying with it the whole time.
Yeah. I think so, because when you're a big part in something, there's dozens of people whose job is to take care of you and make sure that you've got all your lines learned and you've got everything you need and this and that. When you're coming in for a day, it's like all you can do is if you mess up, you're just making everything take longer. That's all it is. So for me, those day player things, I'm probably the most scared I've ever been in a professional setting was when I did an episode of Parks and Recreation. Yeah. And I was playing one of these men's rights guys, guys who think that feminists are actually the ones oppressing men. Yeah. And I come out and I was supposed to storm. It was this big county fair, hundreds of extras. Amy Poehler's there. She owns the UCB theater where I came up. I don't want to let her down. She's been a supporter of mine over the years. Greg Daniels is directing it. It's just hundreds of people. And I worked hard. I memorized those lines. And we walked out for the first rehearsal and I just blanked completely. Just 100%. It was I don't know any of the lines and just was reading it off the script. And every time I was okay, I got it again. I'd put the script down and just forget it again. And it was terrifying. It was really, really terrifying. But on there, I just went off in a corner and everybody just backed away because it was oh, you might ruin this day. And I'll never forget one of the extras. All the extras are nice people. Everybody's good, but you get the occasional weirdo, the stereotypical weirdo. And this guy came up to me and he wouldn't stop. He's just where's the show take place, man? And I was like, Indiana. He's like, oh, I grew up in Illinois. I've been to Indiana a bunch of times. I was like, that's cool, man. That's great. And he's like, you ever drive through there, man? Like, some of that country's pretty boring and some of it's really pretty. And I was like, yeah, I've driven across the country, man. And one of the other extras finally was like, dude, the guy's trying to memorize lines. You shut up. You leave him alone. And all these extras started screaming at each other, which like didn't really help calm me down. But that was the scariest, like, oh, there's a lot of, you're in here for a day. Don't mess it up. That was really pretty terrifying.
Well, there was always a thing on the Seinfeld show where people say that no one was, even the day players weren't allowed to say anything to the cast in between things. And everyone was like, oh, aren't they a bunch of stuck-up assholes? But you could also see that, it is a job. You're trying to do something, you know?
And you don't need someone breaking your focus. Right. Like, I'm sure it comes off like totally douchey, but...
Right, but you have to remind people, by the way, this show is going to last forever because it's Seinfeld and people will never stop watching it. So we have to get it done right. Look at Rob Cross reading. It looks like leading a bunch of people who had done some prison time
that guy,
around.
That's a drifter.
There's people walking down the hallway. They all look like they just got horrible news.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they did. They were each given a show here at Sirius. It is funny, though, how they'll bring people through. There was one other job that I had that I worked at the Franklin Mint, and there used to be tours that went on while we were moving materials around. And there was, after you saw the gold, there wasn't anything else there to see that didn't look like a warehouse. But the thing is, we could never slack off because there were tours watching us, and that we took these pallets of boxes and made like a fort in the corner and slept in there. This is what young people will do instead of work. And we went out of our way to build this place for napping.
And I love when you're young, you're like, oh man, that was awesome. I got away with that.
Yeah.
And then you look back on it, you're like, I was sleeping under pallets.
Yes.
Terribly sad.
Just disgusting. Yeah. But at the time, it felt like we're brilliant. We're brilliant.
Yeah. I that must be a thing with jobs like that because I worked at a skate shop and they had snowboards and stuff there, and there was a snow pants bed, and like in the loft you could just hide away and then sleep on some snow pants. Very soft.
I guess
you'd be like, where's Mike? He's in the snow pants.
Yeah.
He's just sleeping in some snow pants.
The young and the elderly need an enormous amount of sleep.
We're still growing.
Yes. Or dying.
Either way.
Yeah. Because when you hit a certain age, you're like, I do need a nap, like a child. But you don't find, you know that you don't care about your job if you've built a nap area.
Yeah.
But what they don't tell you when they tell you that, oh, find something you love to do and do it, is that there's a freedom to not caring about your job that you'll never get again. Because I know you love your work and you put too much into it.
Yeah.
To ever act like it's not on your mind.
Oh, every day. Every minute of every day. Yeah. I thought, we finished our first season. We're waiting to hear about season 2. I thought it would slow down, but I still just obsess over it.
Yeah.
Every day. Yeah. I do. I mean, you're right. I do miss, I haven't had, I used to work at a magazine and I cared a lot about that magazine too, but it was the last job I had where we had a warehouse where I would sometimes sleep. And it was the last sleep on the job I ever had. But yeah, it is. It's like, I have a very easy life, but I think too hard about it. That's for sure.
You don't ever, once you find that thing, because this is here's what happened. When you had like a regular 9-to-5 job, this is the kind of stuff that you would be thinking about anyway.
Yeah.
You'd be thinking about TV and movies and books and all that stuff and discussing them. So when that becomes your life, there is no kind of downtime.
And then you have to deliver. Right. I was always like an angry young man who's like, if I ever just get my shot, I'll prove everybody wrong. And then I get my shot and I'm like, who is everybody? Nobody was against me and what do I have to prove? I don't know what I'm doing.
But you really thought they were holding you back.
The man was really against me and my my middle class white guy upbringing. They really were trying to impress me in a huge way, and I had to fight back against it.
You're very difficult North Jersey suburban life.
With my parents who are still happily married after 40 years. I had it real tough.
And yet, at the time, those do feel like mean streets. People forget that.
Yeah.
You know, just because something looks pleasant doesn't mean that it is. There was a very early movie, I think it was called Over the Edge or something like that, with Matt Dillon. And it was about these kids that they were in Arizona or something in a planned area that was supposed to be and they just went buck wild. And I remember seeing that when I was a kid going, yeah, fucking love it. You know? And now I look back at that movie and go, why was I cheering for these horrific young people taking drugs and banging in their dad's garage and not wanting to do it? But at the time, it just felt like a fucking call to arms to me when I saw it. And that's funny when you don't, that there is a thing that youthful people have, that you're like, I'm being kept from my time. Where it's just, you know, it's just not your time yet.
Yeah.
They don't hand a lot of great projects to really young, inexperienced people.
Yeah. It's super rare.
Yeah.
I'm like, you want to hear my new thing I'm obsessing about, which I probably shouldn't even talk about, is I'm like, there's all these other weird talk shows starting on other cable networks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these, like, I worked for so many years and I feel like, I don't know. I don't want to talk out of turn, but like, they've tried to hire some of my writers. They've like called some of my people in for meeting. Like one network called in someone who works on my show and was like, oh, we're taking pitches. We're really interested in like weird talk shows. And I'm like, you're not just randomly calling in the person that works on my weird talk show to pitch weird talk shows. What is going on? What is going on? Well, it's terrifying.
Here's the thing. For that's a Suits way of having an idea. Something worked somewhere else. I will steal it, slightly tweak it,
it gets me,
and act like it's my own.
Ooh, it's getting to me.
Yeah.
It makes me, I'm like, I want to go back on the air tomorrow so I can just call it out. I just want to call it out from the air, but I'm like sitting here watching it, hearing people tell me like, oh, I got called in for this meeting and people were looking for stuff. That sounds a lot like what we're already doing. And I'm just like, ooh, put me on the air. Because I'll make that the most watchable TV you've ever seen. I'll just start a fight and get the lawyers mad.
Now, I'll point this out to people, too. Chris was turned down like by 19 networks to do this show.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone turned him down.
That's the thing.
Didn't want it.
And these networks are among some of those networks.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, you whiffed. You whiffed on it.
Yeah.
And then we got great press, and now you want to get in on it. But you can't get in on it. Because I'm already doing it.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, some of them might be bigger budget situations or platforms that are on a few more cable carriers than my network. But I'm like, oh, if you really think I'm going to just go quietly while if there's one thing I'm not, it's quiet.
Yeah.
So if you really think I'm not going to shout to the hills that you guys are trying to play catch up when you missed the boat, you're crazy. Out of your mind. So I want to go back on there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Man.
That is amazing. Well, first of all, let me say this is the other thing that makes Chris so watchable, because there's a sweetness and there's a funness and like an old school geekness with just that's wrapped. That's the thin thing around this inner rage and that's ready to explode at the drop of a hat.
Always looking for a reason to be furious. Always. I'm at my best when I'm furious.
It's right there. And anytime that you're with him, you're like, what a sweet, fun man he is. He's so clever. Holy shit. He could kill us all at any second. He could run through this place shooting. But that is what they do. That's what they do. They take. They steal constantly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just like, when it gets to the point where you're actually looking to work with people who are from my show, and I want everybody working. I'm not saying that people on my show shouldn't take work or be offered work. They're great. But it's like, I just refuse to believe that you're not aware of that. I refuse to believe it. I'm not saying anybody's stealing ideas, but I am saying you are aware that we are out there. You know what you're doing when you call up the people who worked on it. And again, like, you don't, if there's one, I don't know. I'm not the best at everything. I'm not the funniest guy in the world, but I promise that I will make extraordinary television if you keep trying to do this, because I have no qualms calling it out. I will talk to the lawyers involved in my show and I'll say, what's the absolute closest I can get to saying what I want to say? And they will tell me and I will take it past that point. I promise. promise.
So you're not naming names yet.
Not yet. I will save that until it gets me ratings on my TV show.
Right. But the beauty of this is anyone who knows that they know that they're doing this, knows who they are. And this is not even a veiled threat. This is an actual threat.
Yeah, this is an actual, like, cut the shit. Like, come on. Like, all things being what they are, like, if you're art, like, I don't know. I'm not, because this can create a whole can of worms, but it's just like, if you wanted, you had a chance, you guys didn't want it, and then it went well on another network, and that's fine, but let's not backtrack. Let's not backtrack at this point and now try to start mine. And I can see it. Can't you just imagine? Because my show, I'm proud of my show enough to say, like, it's a weird show, but it's very honest to what it is. And I'm like, I know the network, and someday I'm going to turn it on, and it's going to be like some really good looking dude with glasses.
Sure.
And like nothing that risky happening. Right. But all, you know what I mean? It'll be like the family friendly version of it. It's just like gonna drive me crazy. It's gonna drive me up a wall. So I'm like, if we're doing season 2, let's do it. Cause I gotta get out here and get in front of I gotta stand on these train tracks and try to stop this train.
Yeah. Well, what happens is you took your show, the Chris Gethard Show, and you built it piece by piece, and you failed and tried things that didn't work, and you kept putting it up, and now you have it where it is. And for them, that becomes ground zero. They're like, oh, we can do his show plus.
That can be the starting point.
Yeah, that becomes the starting point for everybody else. And they don't realize how personal it is. And even when people say, well, anyone could have come up with, but you fucking didn't. You know what I mean? You never did it first. That's why when something that gets invented that seems like it's simple from the outside is the most cleverest thing in the world. Yeah. You know?
And for me, it also feels to me like the people who did this show with me, some of them stuck with me for 5 years doing it for free when it was embarrassing, for no money for 5 years. And a lot of these people I see more than my family. I talk to more than my family. So to me, it also feels like, man, if you're going to threaten this thing in certain ways, like it really feels to me like you're messing with my family. And I hope some of these people, I don't know, I hope some of these people are hearing it and they know. At the very least, I will make a lot of noise about it.
I can't wait for this. I cannot wait for this.
It's about to pop off.
Yeah, he is.
Chris Gethard's in studio. He's currently on tour and performing at Club Down Under at Florida State University in Tallahassee, Florida this Thursday, October 15th. And then he's performing at the Treasure Island Festival in San Francisco this Saturday, October 18th. And see all past episodes of the Chris Gethard Show. Go to thechrisgethardshow.com.
Or just next season on another network, somebody who's doing it. Yeah, with a much bigger budget and
guest stars.
Yeah, just giant. George Clooney will be guest starring. Well, I remember the first time I saw your show. I thought it was weird as hell, but I got it immediately. Like I was like, okay, I get it. This is an actual scene more than a show. You're getting into a scene where these people are performing for you, which that is so hard to do that it only happens, in any part of show business a couple of times in any generation. Warhol was able to do it with his movies and stuff like that where, and really if you even look back what Kevin Smith did with Clerks in the, I guess, early 90s, then immediately everybody started going, well, my friends are funny and weird. We'll videotape ourselves. But it's so tough to pull that off. Just think of how many people that you ever saw rip off Tarantino and it was terrible.
Yeah.
And Tarantino's still doing whatever that thing is. Whether you love it or not, that thing still exists after all these years. Mm-hmm. But it didn't mean that they didn't throw money at a million different projects to do the same damn thing.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's anxiety inducing in a big way.
Yeah.
Anxiety inducing.
Well, you have the two big emotions. You have anxiety and depression. You have both sides.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the important ones.
Yeah.
At most times, I have both of those, yeah.
I could even do them at the same time.
Oh, yeah. They coexist peacefully, yeah. Yeah.
Did those both come to you at an early age, those kind of extremes?
Yeah, I remember, I'll never forget, I was in 8th grade. It was like the summer before 8th grade, and my brother was already in high school. And some friends of his came over, and it was like they all started getting their licenses. So these kids I'd never met, like from the other side of town, coming and hanging out with my brother. And I remember I was sitting in my backyard on a chair. And I was just sitting there just like looking at the ground, and one of my brother's friends came up to me and like kneeled down and was like, "You all right? Like, is everything all right, man? Like, things are gonna be good, man. Like, you're a good guy." And I remember it was the first time where I was like, "Oh, I'm visibly messed up." Like, I'm visibly messed up. Like, all the people like in my house are used to it, so they don't say anything. But like this person who just met me, his immediate instinct was concern. That was his immediate thought, was like, I should check in. And I remember that was like between 7th and 8th grade is the first time I can pinpoint like, oh, like, and it was really news to me where I was like, oh, is this not how everybody is, being 12 years old, staring at the ground for extended periods of time to the point where strangers are worried about it. But yeah, that's the first time I can remember. And then it was pretty consistent for a long time.
Well, you know, in your book and all, you always do such a great job of explaining that. You know what I mean? Like, you run into these places, whether it's your darkness or anxiety that you're having, or even rage. And most of us, I think, identify at least moments in those all areas.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I'm actually working I'm working on like a new hour of stand-up, and it's all about like depression and suicide attempts and stuff. And it's like it's like barely comedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like barely comedy, but I think I make it funny. But it's funny. My mom has these cousins in Canada that I never met, and I just did it at JFL Toronto. And the first time I met them was them watching me talk for an hour about trying to kill myself. It was like the first time I ever met these people, these nice Canadian, these nice older Canadian second cousins of mine who were like, "Oh, thank you for having us at the show." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure you really loved it. I'm sure you really loved it."
So what do you get from sharing that too? I mean, there's something that's got to come back to you from.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely like, you know, the power over it. I've been thinking a lot lately about it. It's like I started doing comedy on stage when I was 19 in New York, and that was 3 years before I ever saw a shrink. I didn't see a shrink until I was 22. So for me, it was like feeling comfortable and confident and feeling like I was in control. That started on stage. So that happened. And also it's like every time I've opened up about this, whether it's on the public access show, which turned into the Fusion show, or whether it's on stage, anytime I talk about this, someone either comes up to me afterwards in the room or emails me and it's just like, "Oh man, like I deal with that stuff. Someone I know deals with that stuff. Thank you for doing it." So it makes me kind of feel like now that I'm 35 and I've like got it under control to a certain degree, that it's like, it's nice to connect with other people, maybe let them know that I made it to the other side without succeeding in offing myself. And it's also good for me. It's good for me to hear like, oh, people respond to this stuff. And I'm not, not totally, maybe I'm not crazy, or at the very least, there's like more crazy people out there than I realize. There's like other people who get this thing. So it's good for me. I do get that out of it a lot. And also, it's just like, I just don't want to be scared to talk about anything on stage. I just don't want to be scared. It's just like a goal of mine. And that's probably the scariest stuff I could talk about, is like those personal experiences. So I'm like, if I can make those funny, then I know I'm good to go, you know?
Yeah, but I found myself concerned for some of your callers. I'm like, oh man, I hope that kid's okay. I hope that kid's going to be all right.
Yeah, we got some.
Yeah.
Some tough ones. There were some where it's just like you're just watching me not know what to do,
right?
And it was really it's pretty cringy at times because I'm just like, okay. The guy who called us and told us his wife walked out on him that day. He's like calling our public access show that night, and he's like crying on the phone, and I'm just like, man, I'm so sorry. I hope we've given you a few laughs tonight. And but I'll never forget at the end of that guy's call, he just goes, I don't know, man. Can I ask the human fish a question? And I was just like, yes, that's why this show exists. Yeah. So a guy whose wife left him hours ago can ask a character called the human fish a question. That's why we do this. So,
but see, that's why I think your thing is real, because when outsiders kind of make their own scene, right? That is way different than people saying, I'm into comic book movies, which we now call that kind of culture. And like you said, it's been elevated to this real corporate thing of how do we put that together? And I personally see it in shit like Comic-Con. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't feel like I'm seeing authentic people who geek out over stuff, you know?
Yeah, it's a whole thing. And it makes me weird because I'm like, well, what? Like me, like you can see me, my arms don't straight. Like I'm a weirdo. I was a weird kid.
My arms don't straight.
Like in a real way. So it's like, for me, it was like I used to like comic books, and then I know the other comic book kids were the kids I was safe around. So I'm like, I don't know what is that for kids these days. It makes me feel like, well, the loners are feeling like even more loners now because the stuff they used to have is now cool, which is great. But what happened? Like, no, like, it's going to make those kids, like, we're going to have some real monsters. Yeah. There's going to be some real lunatics coming up.
Yeah.
There's not, if they don't have anything. How do you identify each other if everything is cool now?
Well, because now the beautiful women are hanging out at these comic book conventions and then calling themselves nerds and acting like they don't fit in. And you're like, there's not a place on this planet that you don't fit in.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, they have a Star Wars sleeve.
Yeah,
right. $4,000.
Right. A Star Wars sleeve makes a whole difference. I just saw this. It goes to show how weird the world has changed in my life. Playboy is no longer going to have naked pictures. That's done.
It's weird.
Yeah. That's done. And then I'm like, well, that's weird. But then I thought, when's the last time I saw a Playboy magazine? It's been forever.
Yeah.
Charlie Sheen might have been on the cover. I have no idea who the hell or what happened. But you cannot possibly sell a girl, you know, laying on a rug with her ass up in the air when one click over and you have full tilt pornography. You know what I mean? So they had to move away from that. But even what are they going to try to do? Be Esquire? That's not even a good thing to be these days.
Yeah.
You know? Magazines are gone. I mean, you talked about working on a magazine. That's going to sound crazy to people 10 years from now.
Yeah.
You know? It's going to sound like you said, I used to shovel coal into a train as it traveled across America.
I was a milkman.
Yeah.
I remember because I'm 35. Yeah. So I remember when my family got their first modem. I remember like a 2400-bit modem. And I remember like figuring out, like before there was even an internet, I remember like bulletin boards where you'd like dial a phone and it would dial one other guy's computer. And I remember the first ones where we started to realize when we were kids, like 8th, 9th grade, of like, oh, some of these you can get nudie pictures. And I remember, I feel like I was the exact transition age where it was like, oh, we used to do the classic, like, oh, there's this like shack in the woods behind my friend James's house, and there's all these old Playboys and penthouses in there. And that was like you'd go find magazines in the woods. And then all of a sudden, I'll never forget, I like downloaded a picture in 9th grade of a girl, just like she had one in each hand, one in the mouth, and one going in her. And I was just like, oh, this is very different. This is very different than what I'm used to. This was a real leap. Like, this went from a marathon to a sprint awfully quick.
Yeah, that's true, because I grew up in the magazine era, and there was never hardcore porn that we found. It just did not. You know, if it was frontal, it was, you know, that kid became a legend because he had it. So by the time, like you're saying, people were just immediately seeing stuff. I remember even when I would see the first time that I saw something photoshopped, I couldn't believe that whoever the starlet was at the time posed for these pictures.
Oh, those are great.
Yeah.
I remember those. Those were huge. Plenty of people fell for it. I thought Alyssa Milano was fucking sucking all sorts of dick.
I did not know there was such a thing as Photoshop.
You're like, Oprah? Weird.
It really was. And to this day, if you put any star's name and nude, you'll see a million Photoshop pictures with maybe one of them in the middle that's real, but no one will be able to find it. That could be a great game show. Find the non-Photoshop nude pic of anyone.
It was always, you're right. It was always Alyssa Milano, and was it Terry Hatcher?
Yeah, she was.
Terry Hatcher was,
early days of the internet. Those were the two that I was just like, boom.
Yeah.
And plus, I think like a Poison Ivy had just come out. That like weird vampire. No, not. Yeah.
Oh, I know the exact clip you're talking about with Alyssa Milano.
Alyssa Milano was naked. She was in a vampire movie. And then there's this fucking video clip went around. It was just her like massaging her breasts or whatever.
It's like another girl massaging her or something, right?
Yeah,
I had that clip as well.
Well, You know, even when she was a little girl, she did a workout tape called Teen Steam, and it was just selling, right? You would actually buy a VHS of her and her friends working out, and you know, you would read an article like, we cannot believe the sales of this, and then they found out that middle-aged men were ordering Teen Steam to be delivered to their homes.
Teen Steam.
I love it.
And that's just them.
It's Teen Steam.
Yeah.
Now, do you think the middle-aged men thought it was Teen Steam and it was going to be more hardcore? Or do you think they knew?
I think that they were looking at the little girl from TV, exercising herself. Does it say what year this even was, Chris?
1988.
Wow.
For 88, that's...
For 88, that was incredible. That was kiddie porn in 1988. That was just full tilt kiddie porn.
Now we're all just watching in silence.
Yeah, I know.
We're all watching Teen Steam.
Good workout.
Yeah. And you were just thinking to yourself, yeah, she's good, this kid. She's good.
No actual teens own this video.
But do you think that even the producers and directors had no idea there was going to be a secondary market?
They clearly
This fucking move. It's ridiculous.
Look at this. Some dirtbag knew.
I actually feel like we should delete that now, Chris, before we get in trouble.
Clear your history immediately.
Clear your history. That is hilarious. But yeah, Alyssa Milano. And by the way, she doesn't look that different today. She was in here not too long ago.
Yeah, she looks great.
Still stunning.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Still stunning. And I know she's been a star for a long, long time.
Well, she was on that Charm TV show. She got a lot of play out of that.
Yeah.
But now I think she just sells like women's sports gear.
But she has the deal with the NFL. So
oh my God.
Yeah, she's the one who invented, hey, what if we had jerseys that fit women? Before that, nobody came up. You know, when a woman wore a jersey, she just wore a guy's jersey and it hung down. So she came up with no, let's fit it for women. And then she signed all the major sports things for it. So she's brilliant at it. But then she's also trying to get 15 cents a day to feed kids or something.
Yeah.
Or she's saving dogs. I can't remember which one it is. Sad at night,
Yeah,
though.
she does some sad commercial. Makes me feel really bad.
If you're ever watching TV at night, you'll say to yourself, I feel sad right now. I can't sleep, and the world is such a brutal place to the little innocent things. Dogs and children really have a rough time.
really hard.
Chris Gathard's currently on tour. He's performing at
I
Club.
know. I'm still talking to him about it. Oh, you're doing a plug.
Oh,
okay.
there's a plug.
Oh, that would be good.
That would be awesome.
There's a plug. He'll be at Club Down Under at Florida State University in Tallahassee, Florida this Thursday, October 15th. And then he's performing at the Treasure Island Festival in San Francisco. That's this Saturday, October 18th. Go to chrisgeth.com for all additional dates.
He's a very funny man, and he takes his pain on tour for you. He hurts, so maybe you don't have to.
Yeah, and I'm going to Florida and California to really try to bring like a New York fall with me. Try to bring rainy days with me wherever I go.
The Florida had that Periscope DUI last night, right? This was the first time anyone ever was on Periscope as they were drunk driving, and the Periscopers were calling to the local police to try to help them.
Yeah.
And it worked?
Yeah, they did get her.
Did you see the cop come on the Periscope?
I don't think they did, but the cops put out their version of it later. They just went straight.
That's so much.
Yeah, it's great.
I don't want anybody to drink and drive, but that sounds like the most captivating thing I've ever heard of.
I was telling the guys this earlier. I watched a guy who was sitting outside what he said was a hotel room where his chick was cheating with his friend, and he didn't know what he was going to do. And people were like saying, you got to bust that ass. And I'm like, oh, man, I feel bad for even being here. But then I didn't want to, sign off and miss a double murder against suicide. It's horrible. It's horrible how to get caught up in that quickly.
It would take a second probably to even process what you're watching. You're watching it like a TV show.
Right.
Ooh, this is getting exciting. Wait, did someone just die?
But it is like the news when it starts to get that way.
Yeah.
Well, people are doing news on it too. I watch people come up to where there were shootings and stuff, and they would be periscoping on the outside of it before it makes local news. Where now New York One is going to feel like it's too distant for us, you know?
Yeah.
We need something, we need something immediately.
Well, did you, when the Boston bombings happened, were you on Reddit at all? Do you ever go on Reddit?
I sat up all night listening because they put us, they had links. I think it was Twitter that was showing it, but you could link to local radio and police reports.
Police scanners.
Yeah.
Police scanners. And on Reddit, they were like, all these people in Boston were updating off the police scanners faster than the news was getting to it. And I was reading it. It was really awesome. But then they just said it was some other guy that did it. They just said it was some other kid, and then but because it was so ahead of the curve, that just actual news outlets were like, oh, this kid bombed a marathon. I was like,
The Post ran the front page because they saw it like on Reddit or 4chan because they were doing like visual analysis.
Because they thought that maybe Reddit or 4chan did the due diligence that they didn't have to do.
And it was actually, I think, a missing person who wound up dead like a couple. They found his body like a couple days later.
Killed himself, which is like those poor parents. It's like, oh, we got some bad news. Your kid bombed Boston. Oh wait, never mind. We got better news. He's dead. He died before that.
And then within, I remember all that stuff, and you feel bad, and then within 24 hours, there's a new news cycle, and you're paying attention to something else. That's the weird thing. Is like we feel like, oh, we comment on it, but we still do it anyway. You know. Even the people who comment and see it for what it is doesn't mean that you are immune to this. You jump in with anybody else.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop the other day. It was fucking thrilling. I felt like I was on a stakeout.
Well, when I saw this article, I was like, oh, why did I not catch that? Like, I was like, that was my first reaction, is I wish I was watching live as this girl was drunk driving.
Well, I was watching two people in Topeka do trivia back and forth. So I missed it completely.
But if you're drunk driving and periscoping, you're really pushing it.
Yeah.
Like, even just periscoping while driving is pretty good.
Most of those people do it. That's when they do it. I mean, I have friends who are like, heading into work today.
Oh, God.
You're just like, what? It's the weirdest thing when you know the people that are doing this. It seems, and you see what they're willing to open up. Let's look into my fridge. I'm like, I've been at his house before and never opened up his fridge. But
it's kind of more fascinating than a lot of TV that people pour tons of writing and effort and editing into. It's kind of weirdly at times more entertaining.
Yeah. Well, I know our three guys from our show did periscopes, and they're better than anything they've ever done for the show that they're paid to do. I mean, they were all amazing. And I don't know why, that comes easier, because that's the real you. I think when you come in here, you're like, oh, I'm performing. But I think Periscope, I don't know whether you perform yet.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel real.
It's very strange. Just because you look crazy in the street doing it.
But you look so natural doing it, and I hear you yelling, in a way that...
Yeah, you have no shame out there. This morning you were screaming on Periscope.
Well, it's fun. It's kind of addicting actually doing it.
Now, they managed to keep the nudity off of that, huh?
I don't know how they do it.
I don't know.
There isn't any.
Because I've had some sad nights where I've looked for it.
Yeah.
There's no nudity on Periscope, as far as I can tell, or else I'm actually too old to figure it out.
You're like, Brazil must be nude here.
It's got an orgy going on right now.
But yeah, I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anybody doing anything would be kind of considered antisocial yet.
Yeah, it's not got weird yet. Like the way, remember, chat roulette was like a thing.
Oh, God, chat roulette. I was the king of chat roulette. I was the king of it. Because usually people just click away, but you know what I found out about chat roulette is if you just immediately start insulting the person, they'll just start yelling back, and then you can calm it down and have a conversation. I was really good at it.
I never got anything but tits or GTFO. That's really the only response to women. Tits or get the fuck out. Okay.
Okay, then I'm leaving.
Want to talk.
That's my only options here. Allow me to see myself out.
Good day, sir. Wish you well in your ventures to find more and more tits.
Bid you do?
I like it. So there were so many masturbators on there.
Yeah.
And I used to Like usually you get to those and you just click away real fast, but I occasionally would just stop on it and force them to stop and click away from me and make them stop what they're doing. Just be like, I don't want this creep watching this. I'm waiting for an unsuspecting female.
Just wait you out.
Yeah.
I can do it.
It is the best of 2015, and all these things are for 2015 that we've been playing all week, huh?
Yes, everything from 2015.
That's great, Chris. I didn't even realize that we did some of this, and this is also what kills, too. It's like this next segment that we're going to play should have been a year, just not only the highlight of a year, this would have been a lifelong highlight if you didn't have a crazy life the way we have.
And we have a crazy life.
We do.
I can't believe all of these things are within the same year.
I know, it's nuts. But this is the Unmasked at the Comedy Underground in New York City with the kids in the hall. Now, this is the sweet. First of all, the kids in the hall are hilarious. But during this Unmasked, I felt like they were kind enough to treat me as the sixth kid.
I felt that right away.
Yeah.
I was sitting in the audience thinking, is my dad one of the kids in the hall?
I felt like a kid in the hall.
He might be one of the kids in the hall now. I think he's going to go on tour with them.
I've done a lot of stuff here, and we had done a bad job of setting it up where the kids were brought down too early. We had some weird tape, and they were all just standing there waiting to be introduced. The feeling in that room, the way people feel about kids in the hall, it was explosive. It was explosive.
Yeah, that night was so, and you have to also remember, you had a previous Kids in the Hall Unmasked that was hilarious with only 3 of them, correct?
60% of the kids in the hall.
You had 60%, and that was big shoes to fill because it was a really funny
It
Unmasked.
was a legendary Unmasked, one that the other kids have known about. They actually want video of because there's a documentary being done or whatever. We didn't follow up though, right?
I believe Don had their information.
Do you believe that Don followed up?
I don't know. No, I'm not sure.
You're doing great radio because I always tell people in radio, don't go left, don't go right. You know, you're not black, you're not white. You're just a fine gray, just a fine dull gray.
That's the case, and that's what he's doing, so that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's good.
He's like Mr. Gray in that S&M movie. I don't know what it's called. 50 Shades of Grey.
Christian Grey.
Oh my God, you are so Christian Grey.
You know, I got to watch that on TV. It's on regular HBO now.
What'd you think of it?
First of all, I could not believe the movie was over when it was, because I never saw a movie end in the middle of a movie before.
Yeah.
You know?
Is that because it's is it not the whole
There's
book?
2 other books.
Yeah, but you still, every book, just like, you know, you want to have a beginning, middle, and end to a movie.
It ends in the middle of the fucking movie, but they turn a half a movie into a full movie. It's insane. The book's the same exact way.
I didn't read the book, but there was, I'll just say this. They were afraid to commit to the S&M thing completely. It's like we have an S&M thing here of people who live their lives this way. But we're really not going to delve into that. We'll just show you some surface things. You know what I mean? Like, I think there could be an interesting movie made about people who absolutely need that in their life. They need this fantasy role play to happen in their life. Because I don't know why some people need that full time or need to make knots in the middle of the fucking day. It looks too hard. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even want to do that to sail a boat, let alone to tie somebody up. How about I just loosely place it there and you pretend? Pretend that you're tied tight, since that's what we do.
This is all illusion anyway.
Right. But they do a thing where like, she literally can't move. But they don't really get into why it's so important to the dude.
Yeah, when I heard about that, I mean, everyone was talking about it. I didn't really understand, especially once I found out that the scenes were really mild, because I was like, there was Secretary just, years before.
Yeah, it's not like Secretary at all. It's much glossier than that.
Yeah, and that was pretty bold. I mean, it was, it delved into it a little deep.
Yeah, but they pussied out at the end. In Secretary, you know how it was like,
yeah,
but we're really normal's best. It all is about love. But in this, they pussy out at the beginning, like even before they get into it.
The whole thing.
Yeah. And then, didn't he say, I think, that he's 50 Shades of Fucked Up?
Yeah, that was 50 Shades of Fucked Up.
That fucking line made me laugh really hard.
Is it a real line from the movie?
Yeah,
yes,
it really is.
It is 100% real. It's from the book. It's in the movie.
You can go home and watch this on HBO tonight.
I might do it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Well, anyway, that's the way we wanted to set up our Unmasked with Kids in the Hall. It was fantastic. It's really one of the funniest things I've ever been a part of. And this is The Bennington Show.
It's the best of Bennington. From the Village Underground in New York City, this is SiriusXM's Unmasked with special guests, the Kids in the Hall.
You're boring me. I'm cutting your head. I'm cutting your head. Hey, I just renamed your firm Merrill Lynch and the Flathead.
Their hit international TV show is beloved by millions.
I'm not saying I'm gay. I'm just saying, boys, you don't want to run into me in a dark alley.
Their feature film, Brain Candy, has achieved cult-like status.
Have there been any side effects? Yes, sir. A few side effects.
Well, that's okay. As long as there's no flipper babies, right, Don?
Well, there have been a few flipper babies.
And now, they're about to tour across the United States.
Whenever I see an American flag hung in the window of a basement apartment by guys who have better things to do with their money than buy curtains, I say that's America to me.
They are Dave Foley, Bruce McCullough, Kevin McDonald, Mark McKinney, and Scott Thompson. The Kids in the Hall. And now, here's the host of Unmasked, Ron Bennington.
The Kids in the Hall. Hey. Touring.
Check. Check.
Alright, we're checking the mics right now.
Check. Piddly-bop.
Bling.
These are the days I know. 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 David Foley, I hardly know him.
What's that from? What is that? I know it.
We like to storm out, jump around, and then answer questions.
Yeah. That's what we like to do.
Before we do this, can we get a quick mic check to make sure all the mics are...
Check. Taxi. Can I have a taxi, please? Taxi.
It's not just bass, it's also treble. You guys know.
I know. These are the Steves I know. I don't know any Steves.
And this is the tour of America now. You guys are back together.
America.
Just for America.
I want to meet
America.
Yeah.
We like to call it a North American tour with the exception of Mexico.
Yeah.
Not Mexico tour.
We want to go there. There's just no business for
only
us
because
down
we
there.
believe in Mexican exceptionalism.
Because that's true.
Yes.
That is true.
Yeah.
But and you know what? We don't seem to have any problem between our border.
No.
You know?
No.
No one's ever saying, let's keep the Canadians out.
No, it's because you really haven't figured it out yet.
No.
We're a much bigger threat.
Particularly when it comes to comedy, because Canadians have taken a lot of comedy jobs.
Good segue.
From Americans.
Yeah. Good
segue.
segue.
Keep quiet about that.
Hey, what does this gig pay? I might stay around a while.
Find me a little wife
shit.
and sit down. It's serious.
These are the days I know.
See, it's really simple.
Yeah, it really.
It is.
I'm so close to remembering that.
Now, how long since you guys have been together?
7 years.
7 years.
Well, it's a major tour. Although we did a little mini tour last spring.
Sorry, I was wrong.
So that's less impressive.
I screamed and I was wrong. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wrong screaming. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first.
7 years.
But he's right for some reason.
Right.
Scott's right.
Scott's right. Scott, as usual, has cut through the bullshit.
Right. Scott and I were talking.
Gay 7 years.
Yeah.
Not a breeder 7 years.
Yeah. Which is 49 years.
with the same mate. Yeah.
You know, I'll say that Scott and I were talking.
Like as if a gay man would break a mirror. That's just the same.
Is that how it happens?
Really? You never have bad luck.
I don't get it.
7 years bad luck.
Except by doing coke off of it. Yeah. We do that after our jokes with each other so people know it was a joke.
Right. You know, now it's ecstasy. You know what I mean? Coke is...
Molly.
Molly.
Is anybody here on Molly?
Molly, pure MDMA, my friend. Pure MDMA.
Just us? Remember we all did Molly?
Just us. We all did Molly
We all
once.
did. Remember that?
Really?
We got in so much trouble.
A lot of troubles with Lauren.
I didn't
We didn't save any for Lauren.
I didn't do it that night. I just got
Dave just
blind
got
drunk.
pugnaciously drunk.
I got blind drunk. And
we
tweaked
did
Michael
Molly. We
Musto's
went
nipples.
to Limelight.
Kevin, you did ecstasy and you cuddled with Michael Musto.
I did.
And then he panned you in the Village Voice.
Then he called you bisexual.
Yeah.
He panned my cuddling. How can cuddling be panned?
Yeah.
How can you pan flirting?
Made of corduroy.
It totally depends on the temperature of your sweaty palms. I pan your cuddling, sir.
All right.
So, who brought the Molly that night? Who brought...
I think Mark, did you do it?
No.
We went to a Village
I got it
apartment.
from a legend.
Scott had
a New York legend, Chip Duckett, I think. I did. Should I not say that? Is he still around? Thanks, Chip. I'm ready to do Molly again.
And Michael
It was a darkly lit apartment. We went to some darkly lit apartment.
We did.
Three of us.
That's what we did.
And we went to dinner with Michael and his friend Kiki. Another mojito, Kiki. That's all I remember. Another mojito.
No, my monkey's drunk enough.
True story.
So everyone does the Molly, but you did.
I didn't do it. I didn't. Yeah. I wasn't. In those days, I didn't do a lot.
Nor you made up for it.
Bruce wasn't there. Bruce wasn't there.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I just quit drinking, so I'm thinking about starting to do a lot of Molly.
Sure.
Because I have no excuse for hugging strangers anymore.
No, of course not. And it's always good to transfer addictions. They say that.
Yeah, that's what they tell you at AA.
Yes.
Yeah. That's step 1 of the 12 steps.
Sure. So far we've brought up 2 things that we shouldn't talk about. A, the program, and B, a dealer's name. So...
Back in those days, saying that would give him cred, but not today.
No.
This is not a live show.
What kind of a fake
right?
name is Chip Duckett, really?
Definitely say it again.
Yeah.
In case the FBI missed it the first time.
Yeah. At least we didn't say, what's up with those Christians?
That's
They're
true.
terrible, Molly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now that you're back out on the road doing this, has the kind of social morals changed in this country? Does it seem different from when you guys started?
I don't know. It's
Has
weird.
the social mores changed in this country?
I think America has become much more liberal since the late 80s. I think, it's way more liberal than it used to be.
Way more.
Which makes us seem a lot duller than we used to seem. So I kind of wish you guys would backslide a little.
Yeah.
You've got
you know what? Those queers really are wrong.
Absolutely.
It's true. Now we sound like somebody's libertarian aunt.
Yeah.
We used to be cutting edge. Now it's just like, oh, you shut up already.
We're like H.G. Wells going on about free love.
It's really hard to get along with your girlfriend.
Well, you can't, Chip Duckett is out there right now.
He's coming here in a cab, apparently.
I'm getting so much
He's being tased at this very moment.
Not teased, but tased.
I haven't sold drugs in 20 years.
So it is tougher to shock today than it was.
No, I think it's easier to shock because I think the liberals have gotten very thin-skinned.
Right.
They're the ones that are easy to screw around with now.
Yeah.
They're the ones whose buttons I like to press.
Right.
I think the left has gotten very thin-skinned, and they're easily shocked.
So what do you do now to take the left down a peg? What?
I gotta say one word and they're in conniptions.
Yeah.
Faggot. They're all crazy.
Oh my God! He's down.
For anyone missing it, he's doing an epileptic.
Scott's moving funny on the floor.
No.
For those of you at home, Scott, in a very entertaining manner, fell to the floor in an epileptic fit, and the audience, they just loved it. They just loved it.
Thus re-injuring his leg. Great job, Scott. It's great.
Yeah, Scott's got an injured leg.
Yeah.
We're trying to nurse, and it's really fun.
I'm wearing
because he.
No, it's not
showing his
cancer.
leg.
It is not cancer. It is not cancer.
Non-cancerous.
He doesn't have calf cancer.
No, but it's like
You can't get calf cancer.
No. We think.
he waddles into rehearsal on a cane, leeching all the sympathy and then some from us, and then the second he gets on stage, he forgets that he has a body and starts throwing himself around.
Sure.
I might need a walker to do Buddy.
Finally, we say, finally.
That's their way of calling me a hero.
Working class hero is something to be.
No, you misheard that, Scott. It's hoor.
Huro. Huro.
Yeah. Or whoor. That's the Canadian pronunciation.
Exactly. It's so easy with our weird accent.
You go to the whoor house.
I'd have Scott Thompson say whoor.
He's a whoor.
You want to be my huro?
Next question. Tell us about your writing process. Well, somebody gets an idea.
Well, to the only one who's written the tell-all book, I guess, right now.
Tell some.
Tell us how you wrote that book.
Tell some of your tell-all.
Oh, it's a good book. It's actually
A reading.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I am going to read my entire book.
Not out loud.
You're the only one in the
Just read it and just be quiet.
Oh, just sit and read it.
Yeah.
That's even more conceptual.
Bruce is the only one in the troupe who's read his whole book.
They all just leaf through it looking for their name.
Yeah. As soon as the actual writer finished it, Bruce just tore through
I finally
it.
figured out what neo-annotate is for.
You mean Chip, what's his name?
Duckett? Chip Duckett.
Famed ghostwriter.
Yeah. Chip Duckett get a chapter or no?
Yeah.
I didn't know all this Chip Duckett material. Would have been a bigger book.
It might not have been him.
And it might not have been him.
See from a couple of people.
Yeah. Well, sometimes someone will get an idea and bring it to the troupe. The troupe will embrace it or not.
It was a really skinny guy without a shirt. That's what I remember.
I think it's great that you guys are drinking in front of Dave. You know what I mean? He's trying to...
It would be patronizing not to.
Yeah.
Patronizing, compassionate. The words, they're all just words.
Tomato.
Dave, listen to me drink.
Oh, that looks good.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks good.
Oh, boy. Oh, no, it's getting closer.
Want some, Dave?
Hey, old friend.
I used to joke that Dave had a devil on one shoulder and a bartender on the other. And sometimes they embrace the idea and it flourishes. Other times it doesn't see the light of day.
Dave, people, places, and things.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
I
that's
have
what
no
you-
idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Me neither.
Yeah.
So, but being out, let me just ask you guys this. Does it take a while to get...
Oh my God, you should join the troupe. You're so good working with us. Oh my God.
Chemistry.
Is it too late? Is it too late? Is it too late? No. You're the part we've been missing.
Then Scott won't be the new guy anymore.
No. That's right. Hey, you know what? Scott's
Or
always...
the only gay guy.
Scott's...
Maybe.
Oh, really? Oh, was I implying that was a negative thing to say? I can't keep up. Can't keep up.
Ron?
Oh, yes. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Should we read the Lenny Bruce transcripts now?
Well, you know, he played this room. Lenny Bruce, played this room. Dylan played this room, and now all these years later, you guys are here.
Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dylan Thomas read his poetry.
Right, he did. It's a passing of the torch.
Yeah.
To the kids.
But was Alan Havey ever here? That's all I want to know.
Alan Havey.
Alan Havey. If he wasn't here,
from Alan Havey.
Yeah.
He had his shirt off.
Yeah.
He was the only comic who was sort of like of some stature who was nice to us when we first came to New York.
Only Alan Havey.
Yeah.
Alan
Belzer. Belzer was nice.
Richard was a dick.
Richard Belzer.
Richard Belzer was great.
Richard Lewis was a
dick
fuckhead
to us. Yeah.
What's he?
Fuck Richard Lewis.
Richard Lewis was a complete fucking
Fuck him.
Ridiculous.
Well, we did sleep inside his sandwich. He does his show and gets his corned beef
It was
sandwich.
a people sandwich.
Yeah. Is this what we're supposed to be doing or something else?
No, Pete, you're fine. Don't worry. Everything's
Are we really
going
not going to
well.
get a reading from Bruce's book?
Yeah, we
started.
Yes, it's already
Bruce's
happened.
book is out, and I just want to say in all sincerity.
Yeah.
In all sincerity.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to be sincere?
Absolutely.
It's a great book.
As long as you,
It's a great. I hate that it's a great book.
As long as you keep saying like a Borscht Belt comic, it's fine.
Angry little man, and I've had to travel with him for 30 years.
Oh, you mean it? You are going to be serious.
No, I am. It's a great book. It's called Let's Start a Riot. It's a great book. It's as good as anything David Sedaris ever did. That's the last nice thing I'm going to ever say about Bruce McCullough. Because we're in the middle of a fight about a benefit that he's trying to undermine.
Do you call everybody before you write the book? Do you say, hey, guys, I'm going to be writing a book?
No, I guess I should have done that.
Yeah.
Bruce, what's your book called?
I just said it.
Don't you know? But I want him to say the name.
You really
of
haven't read it. That's good.
Yeah. And I had no idea how much anger you had with David Sedaris.
Yeah.
That's
to diss him, to say that he's only as good as Bruce McCullough.
I know. Yeah.
I think it's well placed anger.
He's not even as funny as Amy.
Amy Sedaris.
Come on, you want to go?
Rich.
You want to
Or
go?
Rich. Yeah.
Well, they're naming names tonight, aren't they?
Right now, Richard Lewis is just driving along going, what did I ever do?
Yeah. He knows.
Oh, he knows.
He was a little mean to Mark. He was a little mean to Mark.
Yeah.
What did he do?
In front of Art
we're not
Carney.
going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, I spaced out when he was mean to me. They told me later he was mean. But we were in the elevator at Radio City Music Hall during a comic relief about to go upstage.
No, we were on the bleach. Yeah.
And he was, some comics get energetic and they need an audience. Only the audience he was trying to, like, corral was like 150 comedy legends, including the Honeymooners.
Yeah.
You know.
We were sitting next to the Honeymooners.
Yeah.
And he started like trying out material on 150 comics.
Yeah.
And everyone was sitting silently except for Mark, who was valiantly trying to laugh.
Oh, that's right. He said, I don't need your
I'm the
laughter.
son
I
of
don't
a
like you. I don't
diplomat.
like your
So
suit.
I had this expression on my face. He wasn't funny. He wasn't funny
Hey,
at all.
I've seen that in meetings.
Yeah, exactly.
We
They
bring
know
an
what I
idea
mean.
to the group.
And I believe Richard Lewis said, "You know what? Fuck you. I don't need your laughter. I don't like you."
Yeah, something like that.
Then he left, and then Kevin Meaney said, too much. Way too much.
Shout out to Kevin Meaney.
Shout out to Kevin Meaney.
Kevin Meaney. And Kevin
But also, no,
Meaney
it was
got
at
tons of
Caroline's. The feud began at Caroline's. Where
let's not
So
forget
it's a
where it
feud
began.
now.
Oh, it's a feud.
Come on.
Richard Lewis doesn't even know who we are.
Imagine Comedy Feud.
He didn't want me backstage.
I'm sorry, feud or fugue?
No, feud. That would be
Comedy
better.
Fugue would be
Comedy
interesting.
Fugue would be a beautiful thing.
You know, Richard
Elton
Lewis.
John will write anything for a price, so let's get
Richard
him on
Lewis
it.
also had a fight with Jackie Gleason. Jackie Gleason. Yeah, went up on the stage and said, "Let me show you how it's done." Tried to take the mic away from Lewis, and they were fighting about it very early in his career.
Well, that may have been Jackie's fault.
he told us that on this show once. So maybe that was just a bad night for him because you're sitting next to Gleason.
Yeah. Well, Gleason was there. Carney was there.
Art Carney
Oh, just Art Carney.
Yeah,
was there.
Gleason
Okay.
was dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then fuck Richard Lewis. Fuck him. All right, we're going to take some questions from the audience.
All right.
And then we'll
There's an
see ya.
audience here? Oh, my God. Look at you all. Make some noise. Let them hear you in Serious Land.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. My question, I have to tell you, I dated Alan Havey.
You did?
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
What's he like?
He's an awesome guy.
What's he like in bed?
Tell us! Yes, that's for my book.
Okay. I remember him as a tall drink of water.
Yes.
With a mellifluous voice.
Yeah, it still has that.
Yeah.
Okay, my question. 4 out of 5 Helens agree. Why Helen? Why not Madge or Marge or some such?
Bruce?
Well, when we get an idea, hey, I'm out talking about process. Yes. It was just the name that popped into my head.
Well, there were a lot of waitresses in the diners we ate that were called Helen.
Remember the Blue Dolphin?
Yeah.
The stem. There was a Helen that served us all the time in the stem.
I guess it's a very Canadian name.
Yeah.
Helen. Yeah.
I'll tell a dull story about the 30 Helens, which is the year that Mark and I were writers at Saturday Night Live.
Kevin is pointing at Mark and Bruce.
We were supposed to come up with promos for the show, and I wrote 30 Helens agree that it's a pretty good show. And there'd be 30 Helens in a field saying, we think it's a pretty good show. And they went fucking nuts.
In a good way?
A pretty good show? There's no celebrities? And then it ended up being on our TV show.
Yeah.
Dull story. Thank you.
There it is.
I didn't know that.
Fantastic. Good
dull story.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
That's because you didn't read the book.
Yeah.
It would have been right there.
Mark read it. Why didn't you tell me, Mark?
Yeah. Is it in the book? Can I skip those pages? Yeah, just go right to the 30 Helens story.
Does everybody just go looking for their name before anything else when you're reading his book?
I haven't gotten that far yet.
It's true. It's kind of like when a friend of yours writes a book. Yeah. It's like reading a police report. You just want to get down to, oh shit, what am I in for?
Shots were fired at 2:40 a.m. Pizza arrived. There was a fight with the pizza and about the pizza. Please, next.
Yes.
Shelley Long. Sorry.
Shelley Long. The woman from High Times magazine. Please, what's your question?
I need to know when the last Bellini sighting was.
Oh,
just before we left.
Just before
Saturday
we left. Saturday night.
Yeah.
Saturday night we have this.
He was on stage with
I
us.
don't want to give anything away, but we have an ending of the show that kind of works. And the only thing that could top it was to have Bellini walk out on stage and the crowd went
berserk.
And as they do. Doesn't he make you happy?
Bodies.
Just the picture of that man. And does he not just make you happy? The Bellini.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he now has to wear a full bedspread, not just a towel.
It's true. I believe it's a sail from one of those motor yachts that you can rent for corporate parties.
And he still hasn't taken that shower.
Way too much.
No, but I gave a nautical image. My daddy taught me that was a good thing to do to break the ice.
Go Cyclones. Sir, what is your question?
I'm a bad judge of character, but it looks like you folks genuinely like each other. I'm curious if you prefer your individual routines, or are you being pulled back like Al Pacino in Godfather 3 to go back on routine?
Can I answer this one? I'll say, because last few years I went out and did stand up. I did as almost every middle-aged sketch comic in the world has been doing. Guilty. And a friend of mine asked me, what's it like doing stand-up? And I said, well, it's way different from doing sketch. He was a sketch comic, too. And I said, because when you're doing stand-up, you go out there, and when it goes badly, it feels terrible. But when it goes great, it still just feels okay. But when I go out and do shows for the kids in the hall and we do great, it feels great. It's like really fun.
And when it's terrible,
it still feels great.
Because it's somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
Someone else's fault. The blame goes around. Yeah.
And the thing is, with stand-up, if someone else does great, then you kind of feel terrible because you're not in the show with them. You're like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
But it is...
Or a woman. It could have been a woman who did really great.
Yeah, that's true.
It was great women stand-up.
You know what? I forgot what year it was.
Yeah.
It's 2015. Should have said person.
It's the year of the panderer.
Panderer.
On the Chinese calendar.
They're so cute, panderers.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God, I love them.
Lovely.
Eating their leaves.
Amy
Loving
Schumer's
all
funny.
leaves equally. Not just bamboo leaves. All leaves are equally good.
Mark, can you explain to the radio audience what he's doing now?
Scott is now leaning back in his chair, kicking his legs in the air, kissing his fingers.
For some
it's
reason.
making sense to a fraction of the audience, not to me personally.
He's pretending to be a mythical creature, somewhat like a panda. He's pretending to have a tongue. Yeah.
But you
No
know,
more questions.
with stand-up, it's tough to keep it going. But with, it's always a tightrope. But with this, it's 5 guys walking. A tightrope.
Well, the downside of a troupe is that it's ungainly and hard to organize. Like stand-up is very portable, so we can go out and do it. But this always takes time for us to find time to be it together.
Because somebody's always busy, no matter what's happening.
Well, and also, it's sweet now.
Everyone's always Scott is supposed to be in this TV show called Hannibal. He's not really in it. They call him up every 37 days
to sit in a
say,
trailer.
"Could you come and stand way over there?" Stand further. Go into the shadow. Great. There. And action.
That's where all the fun happens.
Yeah, that's where all the fun happens. But they pay him. Yeah. And he's friends with Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah,
if I hear another fucking Lawrence Fishburne story,
up to him.
I like to call him Fish.
He said call him Fish? He said call him Fish?
Scott had all his Hannibal celebrity friends down to the show the other night. Lawrence and his wife and Claire Danes and Hugh Dancy. Who the fuck is a Hugh Dancy? Is that not the type of male pantyhose?
No. Every morning...
my Hugh Dancies are a little bit tight.
Let me get your Hugh Dancies, Bob.
Every morning, Jane Austen gets up and creates him.
Yes. I seem to have fouled my Hugh Dancies. Must be malaria.
Here's some quinine.
Cut to Mark qualming in his hotel room at 11 p.m. Why did I say all that mean stuff? Who am I, Mummy?
Mummy's gone.
You're slashing burns.
Now Hugh Dancy won't do Waiting for Godot with me.
Yeah, because that's my ambition.
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name's Chip.
Hey, Chip.
Chip.
How casual you are with your question, just leaning in like that.
Yeah, why
Your
not?
question is, do we like your stance? Love it. Thank you. The audience thinks he's leaning in so casual, the gunslinger.
No offense to Bruce, I was going to specifically ask how Bruce feels about the Doors in real life.
Oh.
But I'm going to go past that, and I'm going to wonder about Skura.
What a weird follow-up to that question.
It really is. Where
Mr. Non
did the
Sequitur, he
idea of
lives in a jail
Skura come from?
I have a story for that. Dave thought of it.
And he brought it into the writers' meeting.
And he told it to us and we wrote it.
Yeah.
And not everything is a great story.
By the way, Chip is the only one who paid attention to the fact that it's hunting jacket night here at the Underground. Everybody wears a hunting jacket.
That's Chip Duckett. My God,
Chip
Duckett.
That's it. That's what he meant.
Yeah. A little bit of Molly.
Take your shirt off.
Take your shirt off, Chip.
Bruce likes the Doors.
Yeah.
Do you? Yeah, you do like the Doors, don't you? Yes, of course you do. Bruce loves
likes the Doors.
Beat poetry, the Doors, any fringy stuff, I would say.
The Doors are fringy?
Well, they were.
Wow.
I mean, don't forget, that was the original rock poet.
Oh, I don't forget that.
I never forget all that beat poetry stuff that Bruce and I do, that you guys hate.
I think Lou Reed
it comes from that moment of connection. Right?
Yeah, I don't really like
Am I
the
right, my
Doors.
brother?
Are you with me?
Are you with me? Anger at night.
Anger at
Midnight
night.
slap across the face as a cold witch descends in the steam of a midnight fart. Go on, riff. Come on. Anything that sounds like William Burroughs talking to himself.
It's the perfect room for it, though. It
Yeah.
actually works here. All right, next over here.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hey, guys. My name is Gary. I just want to
Gary.
say you guys were like the best babysitters I ever had when I was a kid.
reruns on Comedy Central. But my question is, now that YouTube has been playing your clips and people upload them, has your audience grown? Have they reached, I guess, a bigger, younger?
Well, I would say not if the number of hits each sketch gets is any indication.
It's true.
I keep going, really? This clip's been on YouTube for 12 years, and 3 people have seen it?
I was all 3.
But if you look up someone tying a bow tie, 5 million hits. We should have been in the bow tie business.
That's what we've learned.
Yeah, people, I know you came down and it feels like a community. You're all very alone. You're the only ones in your neighborhood who are into us, okay? It's great to come here and see other people. That's it.
Yeah. And one waitress in Portland, and that is it.
Yeah.
And only because we tipped well on the last tour.
You guys feel like people at a Klan meeting in San Francisco.
Look, and now do an insert of the empty microphone where no one wants to ask a question. It's a symbol of our career.
We're going to bring the guy with the hunting jacket back out for a second question. But in all honesty, you guys are talking about that. How few sketch groups have ever got to tour every 5 years like they were a rock band? You guys...
Monty Python.
All right, that's one.
That's one, yeah.
Yeah.
There aren't many sketch groups, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There should be more. There will be more.
You think so?
Yeah, I like comedy nowadays because it's like a sketch group can be a band with an identity and a thing and their own flavor, and they don't have to please everybody. Just like that slice of passionate fandom, and I think that's really cool.
But it probably is.
I put myself to sleep with that observation.
That's all right.
Yes, Mark, that's true.
That's valid.
Yes, social credit.
Explain this, Mark.
What's he doing?
Oh, no. My boring but accurate observation threw Scott into another fit.
There goes his leg.
Spasming on the floor.
He's going to fall off. I know
This reminds me, I haven't seen one this bad since I explained how to apply for a passport. That's right, because I know the details. It was really, you have to...
It's called a callback, and if you would take Kevin's journey into sketch, he'll teach you all about that.
$300 every 10 minutes.
But it is, I guess, as close to being in a band as it is to being a comedian, right? To being a sketch group.
It's the closest we're ever going to get to being in a band.
A lot of us would much rather be in a band.
Yeah, but none of us are very talented at it.
No, the truth is, it is actually great to be able to get together and go on stage and have, we don't always do 4 shows in a city now. We do 1 or 2. But to have like-minded people come out, it is pretty sweet.
And I think it's unbelievable. Very, very few people have ever pulled that off outside of music. Ever. Mm-hmm. But there's no reason to be serious about that, because as soon as they get serious for you guys are like, fuck
That's
this.
Right. You know what? You created a nice little editing point for the show.
Well, especially if one of us dies, then it'll be like a really, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just guessing Mark. Or Dave, whatever.
Yeah.
Probably Scott, for good reason. Or, poor Kevin even. Those are all the possibilities.
Hello.
My question is for everyone besides Bruce.
Oh, all right.
What is your favorite breed of dog?
I have to
Terrier
go
will
first
not be
because
accepted.
mine is sadly it's terriers. We had Airedale Terriers.
I sing the truth,
Terrier.
folks.
They're horrible dogs, terriers.
No, they're not.
They're bred to be killing machines.
Do
That's
not
what they're bred to be.
Mr. Chips and Ticker, the 2 Airedale Terriers that we had.
You know what a terrier wakes up and goes, I must kill something! And it thinks that until it passes out. That's what a terrier is.
But you once described me as a terrier of a man.
It's not inaccurate.
That's called a setup. You can learn that from Kevin's improv class.
Here's what's great about Terrier. Terrier, among all dogs, is the one who, when you walk through the door, thinks, oh my God, it's Mick Jagger. That's the way they treat you.
You kill a guy, what kind of dog you want to tell?
Yeah, a terrier.
A terrier.
Yeah. It's okay, buddy. It's all right. You had to do it.
I have a German Shepherd, so I'm kind of keen on those right now.
I like German Shepherd.
I know, but you're mostly known in the troupe for having a potbelly pig.
Well, I did have a potbelly pig.
He did have a potbelly pig.
Right. Yeah.
And where'd you get that pig, Dave?
From a meth house in San Diego.
And what was it payment for?
It was there was a meth deal that went wrong.
How bad could it have gone if you got a pot-bellied pig?
Went right. So so we got the call. Hey, we got this pot-bellied pig. Can you come down to our meth house and take it? And it had been living on Wonder Bread for about a week.
That is so sad.
Let's keep
they
in mind
had
it's a
them, and
pig.
then they got so edgy with that.
But you know what? Everybody at Law and Order is happy now because there's one more premise that they can run with.
Oh, we didn't think of that.
Finally, everybody's just jumping up in the writer's room. I got it.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. All right.
Or waking up.
Yeah. Or waking up.
Hey guys.
Hi. Right.
One of my favorite sketches that you guys did was more of a story about a boy, his father, and sausages. Could you fill us in? What's the background? How did that come to be?
I think Kevin's taking this one.
There is
Kevin
a
has a
story.
story.
There is a story, but it's boring. Norm Hiscock wrote the first draft of Sausages and the first draft of a sketch called The Beard. Now the original. This is boring, but I'm going to tell the whole story. I don't care if it's boring. I'll be the boring one. I'll be the boring one.
have a third seizure.
Kevin McDonald is standing. So what happened?
Kevin McDonald is standing up.
I'm going to embrace the boredom.
Like
now,
a young
this is
Fonzie.
interesting. This is interesting. I actually was going to be the lead in Sausages, and Bruce was going to be the lead in.
Put your arm on his.
Hey, The Beard.
Touch him. Touch him.
And then Norm came to me one day and said, actually,
Lower.
Bruce wants to do Sausages. And he said, is that okay? Now, I was in a bad mood because of my now ex-wife at the time. So I said, yeah, he can have Sausages if he gives me the beard. And then Bruce took it seriously and we switched scenes. That's my end of my part of the story. There's more story now.
And ladies and gentlemen, a standing ovation for that story. Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I teach workshops. $300 for $300 worth. Come to my workshops. $300.
And now, an angrily storming out of the room ovation.
Demanding money back ovation.
But also, there's more to the story. Like isn't there?
There be.
Like the group.
Woodstock came along and everything changed.
That's it. Some of the group thought it could have been funnier. Some of the group thought it was funny enough.
It was a very intense shoot for a Kids in the Hall because Bruce was stomping around like Fellini.
No, more blue,
more sausages.
I only had one
More sausages.
and I only had one line in the sketch, sausages. So my performance is just me stretching. Sausages.
Yeah, it's true. No one remembers anything else. That's what they remember.
That's it.
With the maple syrup dripping off it.
Sausages.
Yeah.
Well, that one line got you ready for Hannibal. So it's all worked out perfectly, and we've come full. All right, over here, next question. Finally, we're getting shorter men. I'm glad to see that. These have been the tallest questions ever.
All right, I want to thank you guys for coming down south from Canada and getting me kicked off of Amazon because they still want to know, or I can't find Dr. Seuss's Bible anywhere.
What?
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's on YouTube.
Really?
And it's in the DVDs. If
I
you're not
thought
too
it was a
cheap to
book.
buy
I'm
them.
looking for a book.
No, the book is...
It's not the real Dr.
Come on, you like
Seuss.
preachers.
No.
Seriously, though, why did they... I know that you guys had a bunch of religious, parodies, and they wouldn't allow that when you first came over here. Why was that? Has censorship changed since then, or... I mean, obviously it's comedy.
Well, then there was very much because Seuss Bible I guess didn't air on. Did it air on HBO?
No, it aired on HBO. The only
It's
sketch
not
that did not air was the one I wrote, which was called "Screw You, Taxpayer."
No,
that's not
that aired.
That was the one that HBO objected to because in Canada we were on the CBC, which is funded by the government. So I thought it'd be a really funny idea to smash a whole bunch of shit on the air and say you're paying for this.
Yeah.
So now you can run down.
And HBO was like too Canadian.
But also, Christ was a bad carpenter. Never aired in the U.S.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah. Christ was a bad carpenter was censored. Yeah.
And Seuss Bible.
And Seuss Bible.
For HBO.
Well, the other thing was Seuss Bible also. Our
No,
crew,
and Mispronouncer.
Our crew wouldn't build it.
I think so.
That was not censored.
No?
No, they
That was just bad.
Like it. Yeah.
No one liked it.
This is a bad sketch. We
But
censored it.
And when we were making Seuss Bible, the crew at CBC wouldn't build the prop. This is our first
that's
season,
true.
and the first season we were on TV, being assigned to be a crew on the Kids in the Hall show was something
Punishment.
that was punishment.
Yeah.
It was like you get sent
So
to
we
work on
wound
the
up
Kids
with
in the Hall
the
show,
coolest people.
and they refused to build any of the props for Seuss Bible. We had to hire outside carpenters.
No, we bought the actual crucifixion machine, the one that actually killed Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
We watched
Surprisingly
it. We
cheap.
watched it. It wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't.
You watched it.
The true part of the story, though, is at the end of that, I took the crucifixion machine home.
Oh, yeah.
With me, with the woman I was living with at the time, and then I ended up leaving her, and I left the crucifixion machine behind.
Yeah. Huh. So censorship wasn't a huge problem. for you
Oh, it was
guys,
a
is
huge
Not
problem.
real. It wasn't a huge
constantly-
I would say it
problem.
wasn't a huge
I
problem.
think it was.
Rarely.
Rarely.
No, it wasn't a problem at all.
No, it was not. I remember you and
wasn't
me,
a- I was-
Scott and
we
I
were
went to the
constantly in
CBC at one point, and it was literally, I forget what the art, remember we went up to see Yvonne
It might
Fitzgerald,
have been
and it was like,
Tony Baldwin.
why can't I show a cum shot?
Well, seriously,
It was like, it was like,
this is
it
what
was
he thought.
insanely, we
What'd he say?
got so much
The stuff
permission.
of life.
The stuff of life.
No, but seriously.
Yes, I remember, Scott. You were.
It was the one where we were the
it was
terrorists.
the animal rights. They
It
said
was
we
the
can't-
animal rights.
We can't
freeing
show
the
jizz
sperm.
going, and we can't
Yeah,
show jizz going
but
down
we
the
did
thing.
show jizz.
And you started shouting, "This is the stuff of
Come on,
life."
it's the stuff of life.
And I do believe, but I believe Mike.
Did I have stuff of life on my face at the time?
A little bit. I said,
Clearly, a little. People.
I believe Mike's
The
whip at the
80s.
time was not the way you use it, Scott.
That was when you were into your alter ego, Bruce Kake.
You don't have to work blue, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
No, but our arguments with the censors were ridiculous compared to what you would see on any other show.
Well, my favorite is the Hitler one. On our very last episode.
All right. Can Hitler fuck a dead donkey?
The
negotiations are very
Or the
Kevin-
Tony
Kevin and I wrote a piece called Things We Couldn't
this is
Do on
funny.
TV. And one of them was Hitler fucks a dead donkey. And it was basically just titles of things that we said that obviously should have been censored. And so we wrote Hitler fucks a dead donkey. And our producer, producer director John Blanchard came back from the note session with the network. And he was laughing. He had trouble getting it out. But he finally got it. Okay. Hitler can fuck the donkey. But the donkey has to be alive.
Which is 1,000 times worse.
Yeah. So we changed it to Hitler fucks
Poor
a pet donkey, and we added a child to it.
Which is funnier.
Yeah. It's funny how that works out, right?
Yeah.
In the long run, it's all worth it.
First of all, huge compliment that I crush your head holds up 30 years later. It's just awesome.
People still have fingers and heads.
Yes, my kids use it. It's great. But my biggest question is probably for Dave. I was lucky to see it at the Beacon in 2000. He walked through the studio, and I'm so torn. How heavy is Mr. Heavyfoot's foot?
That's so great.
I guess, I've never thought about it.
Wow. So maybe tonight when you're alone, you should write a joke in case you ever ask that again.
Yes.
And weigh yourself. And weigh 260 pounds.
Yeah.
You carry it very well.
Bruce was actually made most cruelest in high school.
Yeah.
Because you were.
Is that true?
No, but it should have been.
Is that true?
No one gets off a line without Bruce coming right underneath them and chopping their legs. But he looks so kind. You know.
He does?
Yes.
He looks like what he is.
Open your eyes, man.
He's an angry little
We're
man.
just used
Come
to
on.
it.
Look at that. Did
Yeah.
you buy that? Did you buy my panda routine too?
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable for the radio. Yes, this young man over here.
How you doing, guys? Grew up with you guys. Huge Brain Candy fan. In this day and age of such PG-13 fluff garbage comedies, you guys went with that hard R. Now, how refreshing it was to see Scott masturbating to gay porn within maybe the first minute of the movie, and it just slaps the audience right in the face, and you guys just went for it. Did you guys feel any pressure from Paramount or anybody to do the PG-13? Was there a separate cut of the film?
We didn't feel anything from Paramount.
Oh, no.
We felt like they washed their hands. They were.
They did. No,
Pontius Pilate Network.
The reason why there wasn't film number 2 was because of Cancer Boy, which we, you know what the meaning of a Pyrrhic victory is when you win the battle but you lose the war. Cancer Boy.
Also, the movie bombed.
Oh, no, but the movie bombed. It had no promotion.
It was on the downside.
Yeah, but they had no. They didn't. There was no publicity.
No, the minute we won the fight,
it.
I remember.
We lost.
Bruce and I were like trying to negotiate the whole Cancer Boy thing, and I got to be the one to run and tell Lorne Michaels, said, "Hey, we won the Cancer Boy fight," and he was like, "Right." Because he knew it was coming.
I think we went from. I think Paramount took us from 1,000 screens down to 400.
Yeah,
and they cut all television advertising for the movie. So most of our fans at the time
didn't even know
the movie had been released.
Word of mouth.
Guys, in fairness, they promoted it on CB radio.
Yeah. That was very big. Breaker 19. I got something here I want to read about.
Do you see the new Kids in the Hall
comedy
movie?
show from Canada?
Got some fags and jerking off and Cancer Boy. And hold on.
Breaker 19. We got a comedy show from Canada coming down the back. It'll be shown Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Spread that down on the line, Rubber Ducky.
Good, buddy. I just got the word. The movie's a little bit faggy. Over that.
More than a little Ending's bit. A little confusing, but it's a pretty good parody in that. Check it out.
Breaker 19. Actually, if you watch the movie, I'm going to kick your fucking head in. Okay, I'm out.
Also, they made us change the title. It was going to be called The Drug.
The
movie was called The Drug.
Too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
Too much.
But that movie seems more like a documentary every year now because literally all of North America is on some kind of brain candy.
I want every kind of brain candy.
Well, you know.
Well, Prozac was just out at the time, and I think that's what we were responding to. You know? And also in our fashion, you know, I think Paramount wanted to do a film with us, and they kept waiting for the funny film, and they want us to do Head Crusher and all the fun characters that we had, and the early
and the
Silly
real
and
women.
Alive.
They kept waiting for real women. Where are the real women?
And then we just wrote this weird, dark thing and followed it wherever it went, and there we are.
It was a comedy about depression. We did a comedy about depression.
At least it was set in a dystopian future.
Yeah, well, good for us.
Slightly.
Yeah, it compares favorably with Last Exit to Brooklyn.
On a double bill. Classic 3-act structure. Haven't laughed so hard since the trial.
Kids in the Hall. Brain candy.
Stop that man.
Death comes to town.
Oh my God, IMDb is here. Thanks for coming, IMDb.
There's really nothing to ask. There's nothing to say. I'd just like to know what's your favorite movie, what's your favorite band, and what do you have in your pockets right now?
Dave's going to write a joke for that tonight. We're into love.
Yeah.
The band?
67. 1967. Good call.
Yes.
But did you guys all grow up in the same kind of comedy or different people?
Probably roughly when if we all actually tell the truth.
Yeah.
Sometimes
that would be a first.
Yeah.
Why start now?
Yeah. I guess it was both English and American comedy that you guys were watching?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, in Canada, we got every BBC show like as they were airing in, England, which meant we got Python when it was airing, but we also got shit like On the Buses and
some others
Rising Damp.
So so we saw everything.
You guys saw everything. Now, do you run into a lot of comedians or watching sketch comedy and go, "Oh, I see that those guys watched us when they were younger"? Could you pick up?
But we
on
don't say it like that.
Yeah.
We're a little more excited about it. Oh, there they are imitating
We say it
us.
much louder.
Telling us
We say
through
it
their
much
actions
louder.
how wonderful we are.
We sort of stand imperiously and wait for them to tell us.
Oh, you're influenced
How
by
we
us.
influence.
Again.
And then they sometimes say, "Excuse me, sir, I'm trying to get out of the restaurant."
I'm sorry.
Yes, this young lady over here.
In addition to everything else, I've always appreciated how sympathetic you tend to be towards your female characters, and I really enjoy how you portray female friendships. And I sort of wanted to ask, like maybe in particular, the background of the Cathys and the prostitutes, Jocelyn and the other.
I think it was all just a very deeply held belief that we should hide our misogyny.
Smart. Do you tend to hear more positive or negative things from women?
Surprisingly positive.
Yeah.
Oh, once though,
Much
once in the
more positive, I
90s,
think.
Bruce and I were seeing a movie. We were stopping at a coffee place first. I didn't drink coffee, but Bruce did. And then some woman came. She
Those are the
passed me-
details that make a story.
I still don't drink coffee. That's interesting.
Too many
I had a
details.
coffee once when
Yeah,
I was
I know,
12.
too many.
The woman went past me, went right to Bruce. Do you remember this? And said, "I have a trouble with your show." And she started getting emotional, and especially you. The way you guys, especially you, play women is very insulting, and it makes me want to think about the end of my life quicker than I should.
So he was accurate. Is that terrible?
And that woman became my wife.
So women tended to like it overall.
Overall,
Yeah.
I mean,
And the prostitutes.
We were playing like actual characters. Like
Yeah.
we tried to play there's no rules in the troupe, but the ones there's unstated rules, and one of them is you don't play it for being in drag.
Yeah, our goal
you
was to
play
have people
characters.
forget that we were men.
Yeah.
That was the goal.
Well, you know,
high pitched voices.
if we were to believe Bruce Jenner the other night on TV, you guys are women. So it's already taken. All you got to do is put on the dress,
I'll take
and you're
that.
there. Yeah.
I'm
And
proud
you're
to
there.
be a woman. Proud to be a woman. Thank you.
Right, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, give it up for that.
Yeah.
Pandering.
I've always loved SNL, but you guys, I think, made the greatest sketch show I've ever seen. And I've always wondered, a lot of comedians talk about the impact Lorne Michaels had on like their comedy and what he did with their sketches, but I've never heard you guys talk about like what he did for your show.
Well, first of all, he discovered us.
Well, he discovered us. He was remember at the time in his career he discovered us, and he'd done it before, so he knew how much to leave us alone. That was his genius. It really was. No, I mean, and then he would occasionally like show up, and he would give us these kind of great career advice.
And once
ideas.
a car.
Yeah, and once he gave us a car.
And we all told them.
But he also.
But he was the perfect producer. Like it would have been trouble had we been with the producer who was trying to make it, or like that was his first show and it had to happen. Lauren was so cool.
But we should point out that it was Lorne's the reason we still exist, because he came up to see us and was scouting us for Saturday Night Live, and could have easily just pulled us apart, and and it was Lorne's decision to not split the troupe up. So that was a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, he said he thought there was something special enough that he'd rather try and sell us as a group somewhere
As
else.
he famously said, "They're of a piece."
Yes. Yeah, and he
what
also
is the thanks he got? We portrayed him as a villain in Brain Candy.
No, as a complicated character.
Yes, that's right.
Nuance.
It's not black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you guys work live and when you work film pieces, how does that change? How does that change the timing of the pieces?
We haven't done much film lately.
Yeah.
Could you go stand in the shadow back there, further?
There you go.
I'll be out soon.
Perfect. Could you just turn away from the camera just a bit more? Great. Action.
Yeah. But I think we love the detail and control that you get with film pieces.
Yeah.
That you can really sort of craft like weird little moments and things. And
Took us a year to figure it out, though. We were way in our first season. I don't know if a lot of you know this, but we were canceled at the end of our first season.
And the end of the
and
second.
It was because
And
I think it was
third.
I think it was because
They're canceling this interview. Actually.
Yeah. I'll leave it here.
For good reasons.
No, but like our first season, we the one that I think, what was that insanely long sketch that we did? You remember? Yeah, it was like 60 minutes in the Rivoli, and we just wouldn't change a beat of it. No, not Croptown.
Memories?
The Professor. No, it was
this. You can cut this part out.
In first year?
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, we did these long sketches, and we hadn't figured out how to like use time compression. And by second year, we had Surgic and Kelly Macon, Steve Surgic and Kelly Macon, who were like ad directors who came in and shot things really tight, and it changed the way we used film. Good night.
No.
Hey, Mark.
This gentleman.
Hi. I was a big fan of the Sizzler Sisters, and I always wondered what, where did you guys come up with that?
Oh, that was...
I have the story, Dave.
Kevin's got it.
Kevin is up. He's up.
Kevin going for the second standing ovation, people. Second standing ovation he's going for.
It's also a boring story. We were filming a Kathy scene, the part where Bruce's Kathy was
in a beauty contest.
And Dave and I were half dressed, so we weren't quite sorry. So we weren't quite dressed as women. We had dresses, and then we started. I don't know how it started, but then we started acting the.
You don't even remember the boring story. Here's what happened.
Dave is up. Dave Foley going for
it. We were standing there.
Very difficult. It's an 8.4 difficulty.
And our hairstylist, a woman named Judy Cooper Seeley. I remember her. She also did work with SCTV and I think Saturday Live and Conco. She came over with a couple of wigs for Kevin and I to try on for another sketch. And they still had the price tags on them because she wanted to be able to return them if we didn't like the wigs. So Kevin and I just pulled these wigs on with the price tags dangling in our faces. And we looked at each other and just started going, oh my God, yes, we're two women. We're not two clearly insane men. And that's how it built out of that. Just Kevin and I wearing these wigs that weren't fitted to us properly with price tags on them.
And yet another standing ovation, yeah.
Everything, the audience leapt to their feet. Are you not?
The crowd leaps to their feet.
Dave, tell the FBI story. Tell the FBI story.
The FBI story?
Do you remember the FBI
right.
story?
Yeah, there was.
Tell the FBI story.
Yeah, that's right. The FBI contacted our office at one point.
After we had done a couple of Sizzler scenes.
Yes.
And told them to stop for comedy reasons.
Yeah.
They were fans of they liked the Marx Brothers.
But that there was somebody was actually like
in
robbing,
Washington D.C. They
robbing
were
banks,
breaking into houses,
and they were writing on the wall, the Sizzler Sisters.
Two clearly insane people.
Yeah. And
what were they stealing?
And the police were like, they were just breaking into houses and stealing whatever they could get hold of.
Wigs.
Yeah. And so the police the FBI wanted to find out if somehow we were involved in this. So we were investigated on a break-and-enter charge.
Yes.
They actually solved that case. It was Chip Duckett.
Chip Duckett.
Right now, Chip Duckett, now known as the Birdman of Alcatraz.
Yeah. I'm the most famous drug dealer in New York now. His phone hasn't buzzed in 30 years, and now
it's the old pager.
Yeah.
After all these
My pager's going to explode.
Pager.
Somebody wants snow. Better rev up the gremlin.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
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 I have a question. It's sort of a two-part question. I would like to know how
Can we have the second part first?
Yeah, sure. But it kind of spoils the first part.
All right.
So how did Rip Taylor get involved in Shelley 2000? And how did Shelley 2000 come about?
How did Shelley 2000 come about is a very good
Scott,
question.
can you take this?
Scott,
Can you just you're on your own.
Oh, now his leg hurts. Can't talk, his leg hurts.
Well, I think the true story. I jumped my own shark. I think that was the time I didn't want to direct the film. Everybody was directing stuff. So I decided at the beginning of that year that I wanted to helm a whole half hour. And the original idea, if you guys remember, but you all rejected, was a volcano. Do you remember in a small town?
I don't remember.
Yes.
I don't remember.
And there was a young boy having an affair with a pastor. And you don't remember that? And they sacrificed the boy to stop the volcano.
Maybe you never
and for
got
some
that
reason,
past
they didn't go
Fellini.
for that. So I decided, well, then what about Buddy doing Chalet 2000? And there's not much of a story to that.
It was the most fascinating week when we shot that because it was all about escaping Rip Taylor and Scott Thompson, who was having a meltdown for most of the week, right?
No, I was. It was not the best time. The best part about that, though, is that I almost died on it because the very last take. Do you remember when we had the martini and I downed the martini, but I had a stir stick in it, and the stir stick with a little sword and I did the thing on, and then the sword went down my throat, and so I realized it had a couple of olives in it, but the sharp part was down my throat, and I went. And now this might sound a little graphic, but I'm very good at keeping my throat open.
Wonderful.
So let me just say that cock-sucking saved my life. Deep throating saved my life. Ladies, gay men, listen to this. Listen to this. I had the power to hold that stir stick in my mouth, and I reached my fingers down my throat. I grabbed the hilt of the sword, and I pulled it out and threw it to the ground, and then announced to everybody, I almost died. I almost died. And then Rip said, confetti.
Nothing could ever follow that story, ladies and gentlemen. The kids in the hall! The kids in the hall!
It's the best of Bennington.
I think the perfect place to see Jaws would be on a barge. Like you just pull out in the middle of the water on a barge.
At night.
Yeah,
Lights
at
out.
night. And try to line it right up with the horizon.
Oh,
so it
shit.
looks like the Jaws is coming at you.
We gotta do that.
Gotta do that hot.
1,600 men went into the water, Chief. As you heard the screams and the paddling.
God, Quinn is amazing.
His eyes rolled back. Black eyes, like a doll's eyes.
Hooper drives the boat, Chief. That might be the best line in the whole thing. He just turns on Hooper, who's his only friend.
Hooper, who he previously did not like, now he's just like...
Hooper drives the boat, Chief. No one gets anything they want.
Quinn, you blacked out?
You're a chum, bitch. That's your job.
You're the chum, Chief. That's all you're fucking able to do. You're a chum whore. Eat some, rub the rest on your testicles, Chief. And you're a little chumble. You know that he just treated women fucking horribly.
Didn't look him in the eye.
Here's the semen, lassie. Take it all. So when is this movie coming out?
I'm not sure exactly. Summer.
It's gotta be soon.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this. I know everything's filled up right now with dinosaurs. Every screen in America has a dinosaur on it.
It's the only kind of movie anyone should see is dinosaur movies now.
I don't want to see a movie unless it involves very large teeth.
That's true. It's got to be a large tooth summer.
June 21st. It's this weekend.
Look at your panic. June 21st.
Guys?
We've got to go. Find out where it's playing in the city.
All right, I'm finding that out right now.
What's the Yeah, go to Fandango.
All right, okay.
Go to Fandango, Chief. Hooper picks the theaters, Chief. Hooper buys the popcorn and treats. You get nothing, Chief, but the chum. That's all you're worth. Swallowing chum and cum. You see that right here? Big Chinaman reaching me over and broke my arm. Great big old Chinaman in San Francisco. What? I didn't fucking even understand the last part of that.
It's a 10-minute monologue that you can't understand half of.
This right here, Chief, that you're making fun of and you think is great,
I'm going to turn your little fucking joke right back on you by bringing up a story that just happens to be a bunch of shark victims. Of all the things in the world, I happen to be around for two of the craziest shark stories ever.
Turns out it was a personal vendetta.
I've hated sharks since World War II. Here's the simple, these Chief. Why, I'm not even an American. What was I doing on that ship? That's the crazy part of the story.
Y'all know me.
Y'all know me. The crazy fucker constantly killing sharks and just hanging their mouths up in the window of my store.
Freaking everyone out in town.
No one wants to buy them. Shark mouths all summer. No one's even slightly interested, Chief.
Bleached and cured shark mouth.
I get them down so there's no meat on them whatsoever. No shark liver. Chief, look at me when I'm talking to you. I'm all fucked up. And I've been pissing in the bottom of the boat.
It's off the side.
Where's it playing?
Landmark.
That's it?
Yeah,
One place?
One place. According to Fandango.
You know how many fucking seats are in a Landmark theater? You might as well go over and watch it at my house.
That could be fun this weekend. Get the Benningtons together.
All right, hold on. Here's where it's playing: 42nd Street, Chelsea Cinemas, and Union Square 14.
It's playing everywhere. You don't pick. Hooper picks the theaters. Chief, when I die, I want you to shoot that shark in the fucking mouth. Gotta put a tank in its mouth and then shoot it. That's so fucking hard.
Yeah, it is.
I was right by trying to break my whole blood was sticking out.
What?
Well, he was hammered.
It turns out a lot of theaters, Stanley.
Yeah. Well, Fandango's a lying piece of garbage.
Hooper, you whiny little Jew. You don't even know what you're talking about.
What'd you call me?
That's what he's going to say.
I'm not trying to get racial with this. It's my boat, my rules. Should I bring all my shark mouths with me?
How are they going to help?
Just leave the shark mouth.
He took down another barrel. I've never seen anyone take down so many barrels. Etty there, you fucking shark mouse.
Farewell and adieu, your old sharky mouth.
Hi, everybody, it's me, Quint. From Quint's Shark Mouths. We're now selling shark mouths for 49 cents. We're fucking just up to our nuts in shark mouths.
You're giving them away.
Sharp.
Do what I do. Take a shark mouth, put your penis in it, and yell out, "Bless you blows," while pushing your hips back and forth. That's my job.
It is.
Just make T-shirts.
You all know me as the crazy shark man who's drunk, wearing a big, thick army jacket in the middle of July.
Summer, man.
Should have been walking around shirtless.
Gary from Buffalo is always just on like the Tito's thing in a heartbeat. He's very, very excited about Tito running for president.
As he should be.
So yeah, we could end up doing Jaws.
Yeah.
It was a Father's Day thing. Maybe everybody goes to Jaws.
Yeah.
And then out for a seafood meal.
That's perfect.
Yeah. You know what I haven't had yet this summer?
What's that?
Lobster roll.
Oh my God.
You know,
Jaws,
perfect. Jaws, lobster roll.
And you know dessert.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of cocaine.
No.
What? What?
That salty honey.
Oh, we're going with that gimmick. So Gail knows this place that makes this great pie. It was like it's sea salt on this honey pie. Is that
It's like
what
a honey custard pie, and then
it's really delicious.
Salt.
And then it was really funny. So she will always get that for me for Father's Day. And then Fez stole the idea and started to get the same pie for me because he knew he liked it. And that cracked me up. And everybody in the family was like, why is he going to do that all the time?
That's my thing.
He's got his own ideas.
It's Fez's now.
You have to travel far to get to that salty honey pie and then back into Manhattan.
That was before Uber.
Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, people are writing this in. Yeah. It's definitely not playing at Landmark.
Then why?
It's in three different places.
Fandango.
Landmark is not one of them.
12 a.m. Jaws.
12 a.m. That's a midnight fucking movie, Chris. Come on, start thinking.
Fuck.
This is a re-release, not a fucking midnight movie thing to go to with a bunch of young kids who are high as fuck grabbing ass. Phil.
Yep.
What is it?
Hey, I got a random fact for you about Captain Quint.
All right, go ahead.
He's named Quint because he's the 5th person to get killed in the movie.
Oh, yeah, because he died right after Quad, Try,
Yeah.
Duo,
Dose.
and Onesie. Those were, oh, fuck, that's so not interesting.
I was most shocked about Onesie because I didn't see it coming.
That was the baby. That was the Kittner boy. Mike in D.C.
Hey, brother, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, Hooper drives the boat, Chief. That's one of my favorite lines. There's another one coming down the line. He goes, "Quit playing with yourself, Hooper." Hey, there's a couple of I was going to call in a couple months ago. I was going to give you movie line quotes and see if you can guess them.
All right, go ahead.
And here's one. This pie is so good.
This
You know what it is?
pie is so good.
This pie is so good. Sissy? You ain't never ride that bull, Sissy.
Oh, he's doing
Urban Cowboy.
Urban Cowboy, yeah. My favorite thing is from that is my feet are sweating in these boots, Mama. My feet are sweating in these boots. Can you two-step? Want to prove it? I'm going to go out and fuck the bull right now in front of everybody in town. Why my Italian cowboy boyfriend gets pissed off. He thought he could not look Italian by growing a beard.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
He was just glaring at her, stop fucking the bull in front of everybody.
Everyone knows what that's supposed to simulate.
Yes. The Landmark thing, they're just doing it on their own. They're not even tied in with the Universal.
They're just doing a midnight showing.
Well, Fandango's full of shit, and they fucking gave me some bad information.
So you literally could not be more wrong.
Fandango means friendship. We're not keeping the theater. We're putting those theaters open. You understand, Chief?
You all going in the theater? Theater's going in the water. Shark is in the water. Oh, shark. Now your song.
Mm-hmm.
Remember you started singing that same song again after that?
Farewell, little door,
Yeah.
to your fine Spanish ladies.
That's what he's acting like. You fuckers. I'm just going to sing this crazy song. Again.
You know what that means.
Well, the thing is, too, right? It was like, what year was that? 74, 75? So, like, why is he singing an old pirate song? Why wouldn't he be like...
He's an old pirate.
Love will keep us together. Hi, everybody. It's me, Quint from Sharkmouth.
Yeah, we know. It's just the three of us on this boat.
The movie you're enjoying tonight.
It just went... Used the whole... Oh, this fucking TV movies at Amity. The one TV station.
We're watching Captain Blood tonight. Speaking of blood, look at this shark mouth. Yeah. I pulled it out just hours ago.
Where can I get one of those?
Come to Quint.
Here's Ted in Rhode Island. Ted.
Hey, buddies.
Hey.
I sent Chris and Gail, I sent you guys some beer.
Oh, what's up, Ted?
Yeah, we got it set in front of us right now.
What's up, Ted Z?
Nice. Yeah, that's Narragansett beer. That's the beer Quint drinks in the movie. I don't know if that was clear through the note.
Yes.
Yes, we got it.
Now, why
crush that can?
So you think that that's going to get people crazy about these cans again?
It really is. It's been a big selling tactic. We've done it for the last couple of years, and we use Quint in like some of our low key advertising stuff. And we have a hashtag Crush It Like Quint, and people love to send pictures of them like drinking the beer, crushing it. I went to a
Stanley,
screening
you're sending in a crushed beer.
You fucking know I am.
Yeah. And can you get a shark mouth somewhere, Phil? Just have it hanging up behind you?
Work a shark mouth in.
Yeah.
Make it nice.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Ted.
Ted.
in Rhode Island, making everybody so happy today with these beers. Crush It Like Quint.
Oh, they're so delicious.
And where do you get these beers? At any local beer distributor?
Yeah, any beer distributor will have Narragansett. They've blown up in the last few years.
Yeah, and now
right?
Yeah,
in
for real,
the youngsters bars,
They're in
it's
every
given
bar in New York City.
PBR a run for its money.
Is
you know
that
what I
right?
mean?
Yeah. It's actually replaced PBR for a lot of people.
It has for me.
Yeah. Give me a tall boy Narragansett. Actually, you know what? Give me that Quint can.
It's the best of Bennington.